Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Prof.
Good morning.
Good morning, Prof.
Good morning, Prof.
Welcome
Good
to the
morning,
last day of the course. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so we are on the last day of the course, and I think it has been a fantastic journey. As you can see on your screen, I usually have this on the screen, the last days of our courses. And the reason is, when we started this course, many of you said, it's difficult for me, it's difficult for me, it's difficult for me, it's difficult, it's easy for me, it's that. So one thing is success is to a great extent an attitude. And what I mean by that is, oh, I didn't show the screen of what to do this. I thought I have showed it enough so that you have the rules of the house on your fingertips. So if you are not speaking, just mute yourself. All right. So success is to an extent an attitude. Well, I used to an extent. Some people may say that to a large extent an attitude. And what I mean by that is, sometimes what you have in front of you is only a challenge. But that challenge that is there may be interpreted differently by different people. Some people may call it a problem. And you know, the dividing line between challenge and problem is not very clear. But the connotation of challenge has some positivity to it. All right, I have a challenge. And so when you say I have a challenge, there is intuitively in it a perspective of your readiness to deal with it. But when you say you have a problem is more negative. Okay, so for successful people and unsuccessful people, the attitude of interpreting what is in front of you can make a big difference. For those who are successful in their life, many things they see is a challenge that they need to deal with. While for unsuccessful people, they see lots of things as problems. Your scientific writing is a vehicle to bring transformation. All right? It's a vehicle to bring transformation in the field you are working in a way that it affects society and makes society to function better. If you see it as a problem, very little can you do. But if you see it as a challenge, there is hope for you. There is hope for you. So 5 days now we have spent to reflect on some of these things. And you need to decide what it is for you. What you have in front of you is various ways to describe life. Somebody sat down, thought about his or her life. It's anonymous. I wish there was a name that is attached to this. It's anonymous. So we don't know somebody somewhere. All right. But this person has put a smile on many faces. And I hope that you reading this, there is a smile coming from your face. When I listened to read the first time, I said, wow, this is philosophically practicable. This is actually what our life is full of. When I was doing my first degree, I was in the English composition class, and the teacher said we should write an essay. And what he said was, what is life? Oh, and I was there. What does it mean? What does it mean? You know? And that really impacted me, that even until today, I thought so much about it. I wrote that essay. Everybody wrote, and it made me to think. And until today, that is more than close to 25 years ago now. Until today, when I see people, I'll usually ask them, how is life? I remember one of my colleagues some years back, and he called me and said, you always ask this question, how is life? What do you mean? What do you want me to answer? I said, well, I asked that question because I want to, it's deeper than asking you, how are you? All right? It's a question of care, to know how you are, not just doing, but how you are. And that's cause for even some of those things you hide. People don't see it on your face. How is life? All right. And then you have this. So when I came across this, I was excited, and I have never left it. It's an onion. Peel it one layer at a time. Many times we are so much in a hurry that we want to just kick everything out. This is impatience. Here is calling you. You need patience to walk through life. You need patience to develop your writing skills. You need to intentionally take it one layer at a time. It's a challenge. Meet it. Don't run away from it, because you run away from this other door. As you are about entering the other door, it's staring at you on your face. So meet it. It's a gift. Accept it. Many times we don't think it's a gift. What is written on our face is like is a punishment. Accept it. It's an adventure. Dare it. It's a sorrow. Yeah, sometimes sorrow can come. Overcome it. It's a tragedy. Yeah, it happens. Face it. Especially when you submit your paper, the editor, right? We don't accept it. We don't even consider it. You send it the second one, they tell the same thing. You send it to the third one, and then you sit there, you pour your tears out. I don't know if anybody here cries when you receive that rejection. You're crying the eyes out, but it's a common thing people do, and you can improve in your crying. All right. You know that kind of cry that happens. It's sent to you. You are in your office. You mix cry and laughter. You mix cry and laughter because you understand. All right. And your colleague knocks on your door. What's happening? You do it again. He said, don't worry. You will not understand because you understand. There is a journey you have taken to that point. All right. So face it. It's a duty. Perform it. I have told you, we are watchmen and watchwomen for the society. We are contracted to them. We have a duty to show them the way. All right. It's a game. There's a saying that all, what did they say? All work without play makes Jack. Yeah, I don't know that, but all play without work too. You should find time to play. Okay? Because you have that life to live as well. It shouldn't be only writing. I must publish. My target is to publish 20 papers this year. My target is to publish 50 papers. What? Oof. Many times you fail those targets. Find time to play. It's a mystery. Sometimes it can be difficult. Unfold it. Some of you are saying, this is my first time of learning this. Now there's a revelation given to you. It's a song. Sing it. Find a time when you can see opportunity, take it. It's a journey, complete it. It's a promise, fulfill it. It's beauty, praise it. The art, all right, or scientific writing. It's a struggle, fight it. It's a goal, achieve it. It's a puzzle, solve it. This is life. And I hope some of you have such experience to share. But these 5 days we have had is a reminder that we are on a journey that has different experiences. These experiences, we can appreciate them in different ways. But I want to encourage you, live life to its fullness, no matter the situation. Live it to the fullness. Welcome to the last day of the course. Okay. The next thing I have here before I send you out is group number 12, your nuggets. Group number 12 ready? Who is presenting for group number 12? Group number 12 not ready? You're not there? Because we will not have time for you when we come back. Trust me. So who is presenting? Raise your hand.
It's Sister Cindy. I don't know.
Sorry, sir. Can I have 5 minutes to settle in, please?
Nope, no 5 minutes. Honestly, no 5 minutes. Okay, so let me see what I have here. Today is group presentation. All right. And I showed you yesterday what will be happening today. I want to show it again. Because now I will send you out to your groups so that you can take your time and finish up. So once you finish 11 a.m. GMT, you take lunch break for 30 minutes and 11:30 we kickstart. All right, so we'll go like that. 10 minutes presentation. Please don't exceed it because as you see, it's so tight that we don't have that time to add to you. So please do it. If you can do it less, that is fantastic. But if not, don't exceed 10 minutes. All right, thank you. Yeah. Ajibola has put what I wanted to put in there. Evaluation, please help to evaluate the course. Not everybody has done it, and I'm waiting for everybody to do it. So please, now you have almost 3 hours. Do that, and we'll take that into account. Okay. So let me send you out. Does anyone have any question, any burning question?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Good morning, Prof. Thank you so much for
Good morning.
what we have learned so far. I know you mentioned that the group should send the nuggets and then so that it could later be shared among the participants.
Mm-hmm.
I was also wanted to find out whether, with regards to the group assignments, the ones which we were presenting per group, but from the nuggets, are they going to be shared? And then
share everything your group has presented.
okay,
Send them to me.
It will further be shared to the individual participants.
It will be put on the Google Drive.
All right, thank you so much.
Then you can pick it from there. All right.
Yes.
Reham, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good morning, Reham. Is it
I
evening
want,
where you are?
near evening.
Where are you joining from, Reham?
Egypt.
Egypt. What's the time in Egypt?
It's now 10:30.
10:30 in the night.
No,
Goodness me. And you say it's near evening.
I
The
mean near afternoon.
The Egyptians call 10:30.
I mean near afternoon.
Oh, all right. Thank you for clarifying. But it's actually morning, isn't it?
Yes.
Near afternoon. Go ahead with your question.
The nuggets isn't in the Google Drive yet.
Yeah, it's
so
not. I'm collecting it.
Okay. And the slides for date 4 isn't there too?
No, it's not there. It's not there yet. So I think group number 1, you have not sent that to me. I have that of group 2, but group number 1, send that to me. Then I will put it. I'll put it as you go out now.
Okay.
Yeah, and you have a week from today to collect what you need to collect from the Google Drive. So within a week, collect what you need to collect. Then that will be closed.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So let me open the rooms and send you. If you have not put your number, and I hope you have learned that now, having spent how many days here, that should be clear enough. All right, Cindy, while we are doing this, do you have a question?
I just wanted to say that could group number 12 present their nuggets now? We are ready.
People have already joined their group, Cindy.
Right.
Cindy group 12 didn't get ready. Well, let's see what happens. If not, then you will share your slide with me and I will share with others.
All right.
Please, I'm also I can't find the link to join my group.
Is that Miriam?
Yes, please.
It has not come to you, or you have not seen it, is it?
I can't see it on my screen. I can't see the link to join. Now I can see it now. Thank you so much.
Okay. All
Same
right.
to me. I can't see the link.
I hope you didn't remove your glasses. Who is that?
Glasses, Jerita.
Jerita.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. We'll have to start earnestly. Group 1. So those who are presenting for each group, just raise your hand and I will call you. Group 1, who is presenting for group 1?
Prof. Bright.
Yes,
Please.
please.
I'm not from group 1, but I think we need some time. I don't know if other groups agree.
You will not have any time because then we can't finish it today. So I think what you do is to present up to the point where you have reached.
All right. Thanks, Prof.
Group 1, go on.
Hello.
Yeah, we hear you.
Are you?
Hey, Dr. Mati, please go
Hi,
ahead.
we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Portia,
So, Dr. Mati.
this is Dr. Usman.
Okay, Dr. Usman, I'm here, please.
Okay, maybe I can just proceed.
Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon, Prof, and then to our colleagues. Group 1, we are presenting on the global and regional trends in mortality caused by road traffic injury from 2000 to 2019. Yes, next slide. And this is our outline from introduction to conclusion, then our references. Next slide. So we said road traffic injuries are one of the major causes of death globally and pose a severe threat to global health. And it is considered as the 8th leading cause of death globally in all age groups and is predicted to become the 7th leading cause of death by the year 2030. In 2016, WHO reported an estimated 1.5 million road traffic deaths globally. Next slide. There are regional variations, however, 90% of which are seen in low and middle income countries. RTIs are considered significant, cause significant economic damages to victims, their families, and the entire country. Most of which account for about 3% of their gross domestic product as a result of road traffic accident. RTIs are preventable, and then according to the Sustainable Development Goal 3.0, there is an aim at reducing it to about half by the year 2030. So that
What's happening?
member states which are aimed at reaching. Next slide. So the global trends in road traffic injuries related mortalities need to be available as evidence in order to have interventions which can prevent or reduce mortality rates related to road traffic injuries. There is, however, limited data, especially in low and middle income countries like sub-Saharan Africa. Next. Our study objectives aimed at comparing and contrasting the rate and trends of mortality caused by road traffic injuries across the globe from 2000 to 2019, and then also evaluate the mortality rate due to road traffic injuries in Africa and in comparison to other regions. Also, we looked at mortality rates and trends in the various African countries. Next slide. The study design was a descriptive ecological study of mortality caused by road traffic injuries. And then we manage the secondary data by using an estimate of road traffic injury deaths from 2020, from 2000 to 2019. The variables were measured were estimated road traffic mortality rates across the globe and with consideration of regional and country level. Statistically, we use the study objectives were actualized using descriptive data to analyze and generate a database using Microsoft Excel version 2011. Next slide. The data set was cleaned using Excel software and then presented in tables. Time series line graphs were used to also demonstrate the data according to mortality rate per 100,000 population within the graphs were used to visually compare and contrast the trends per 100,000, and this we looked into the various regions too. Next slide. Sub-Saharan African region specifically was compared with other regions, and the countries within Sub-Saharan Africa also looked into during the study period. Ethical clearance, since it's secondary data we are given, we did not sought any ethical clearance, seek any ethical clearance. So the results are put in tabular form, and this demonstrate the various regions. First, we tabulated the various regions, and then the trend in mortality from 2000 to 2019. So you can see the first is East Africa, East Asia, and the Pacific going to Sub-Saharan Africa, and the world trend is the average world trend is the last column. And then, although we did not show it here, but we look at the difference between the first mortality rate in the year 2000 and go through the trend to the last mortality rate in the year 2019 and subtract it and look at the rate of decline, the difference. And then we observe certain things that we'll talk about in the result. Next slide. We'll see that in this graph also, we see the Sub-Saharan Africa and North Basin.
So you have 3 minutes. Okay.
Okay. So next slide. So the studies showed that the burden of RTI is due to the mortality due to road traffic injuries are on a decline globally across all regions, and but there are variations in the various according to various regions, and the Sub-Saharan Africa registered the highest among the regions comparatively. Next slide. So we saw that the middle is, however, they started high. They started a little bit low, went high, and then come slightly decrease, although their decrease is not much. East Asia and Pacific, they have a values, and then the Central Asia, they are the ones who register the lowest. Next slide. Right. So Europe and Central Asia registered the greatest decline, annual decline, and over the period. And overall mortality trends, so that Sub-Saharan Africa and the Middle East and North Africa are the highest, they top the list compared to other regions. So North America and Europe and Central Asia registered the lowest, and they have figures which are lower than the world trend compared to other regions. Whilst East and this income have average East Asia and Pacific and Latin America and Caribbean, they have ones related or resembling that of the world figures. Next slide. Next slide.
Okay, you need to round off now because your time is up, boss.
So we look at
Conclude.
countries. We also indicated countries which top the list in Sub-Saharan Africa, like Seychelles, Mauritius, and Zambia, Nigeria, and those who are performing well. And then we compared that to those who weren't performing very well, including Zimbabwe, Liberia, Central African Republic, Southern, and Namibia. This could be attributed, next slide, to maybe some issues happening within this, but that cannot be found in the data. We presumably will talk about it. Next slide, please. So, so however, we concluded that generally there is a decline in trend of the mortality rates in all the regions, although this varies, and then we have other countries which have low mortality trends and others which have high mortality trends. And a good example is Sub-Saharan Africa, which have the highest mortality trend compared to other regions. And we recommended that we should look into the intervention, various interventions and policies of countries which are, or regions which are doing well, and see how best we can implement it in countries which are lacking behind. Thank you so much. And we have our references.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Any thoughts? Anyone who has any thoughts for group number one?
Some additions. Thank you.
Any questions? Any thoughts?
I have one.
Yes, please.
Pantaleon. No, the work I think is good according to me. It's just one issue on the way the graphs have been presented, especially the second graph, which looks dense and not easy to understand. Otherwise, I like the way they got the data, and more analysis can be done based on the same data. Thank you, Prof.
All right. Thank you for that. Any other comments? All right, Nafi.
I think the presentation was good, but as I said, one of the graphs was not clearly understandable. And the other thing also I was expecting was to see at least a comparison among groups, like doing something like an ANOVA to compare the group, look at the means, whether they are equal or not. Thank you.
All right. Any other? Okay, thank you very much, group number one. How is the state of the manuscript, group number one?
Prof, we were challenged by time. And this
No, I mean, where is the state? Where are you with the manuscript? I'm not expecting that you should finish. Where are you?
At the completion stage, Prof.
Okay, you're almost there.
Yes, Prof.
Yes.
All right.
Maybe
just to find
Prof.
Organize it. But Prof, I wanted to mention, yes, like the reaction made in terms of the graph. So we have also observed that, but we thought probably if we have to divide, because there are a lot of countries for Sub-Saharan Africa, And the objective was to look at all the countries and look at their trends and compare. And if we wanted to divide, look at the.
Okay, I think you got the message. It's not only that type of graph that you can use to show your data. You could also
And compare,
you could also
so
you could also look at other charts that could be helpful in accommodating several data points. Okay, so you can check and see if you have better charts than what you have there. One other thing I observe is that your introduction is quite long. You see, in your presentation, you spend too much time in the introduction. So, like we said, when you write that now, what you have presented, you will see that it will take long or big part of your manuscript. So the introduction, you need to make it quite succinct and go straight to the point. You do not need to summarize everything that is known on the topic. All right. Then I discovered that you were presenting your results in the discussion. The first part of the discussion was actually results. And in the discussion section, the only discussion you had was just one sentence in which you talked about the role of interventions. The role of interventions. So you have to be careful to separate the results from the discussion so that it is clear. The results interpret your data, and discussion make meaning of the results. And in the discussion, as we highlighted, there are a few items you need to cover. You have the summary of your key findings, the strengths and limitations, comparison with previous studies, interpretation of what that means, what your findings mean, and next steps. All right, so please take that into account when you are working with your manuscript. Let's go to group number 2.
Thank you, Prof. Very much noted.
Okay, so please always watch your time so that you're within your time. Otherwise, we will spread this quite much.
Imports of goods and services as a percentage of gross domestic product trends and implications for development in Africa. Imports of goods and services represent the value of all goods and other market services received from the rest of the world. They include also merchandise, freight, insurance, transport, travel, royalties, fees, and other license fees and other services such as communication, construction, financial information, business personnel, and governmental services. They exclude consumption, employees, and investment income, formerly called factor service and transfer payments. Gross domestic product is the most commonly used as an indicator of economic health of a country as well as a measure of a country's standard living. Each nation measures their national yearly income using the GDP for a nation, economic performance, and its development purpose. From 5.5% of world annual GDP gross between 2005 and 2008, Africa's economy grew only for 2.4% in 2009. However, the UN projects a healthier growth rate of 4.7% in 2010, signaling a relatively rapid recovery from the crisis. On a country level, Africa boasts some of the world's biggest growth success story over the last 10 years. No fewer than 6 of the world's 10 fastest growing economies were in the sub-Saharan Africa. Paucity of published data on GDP performance in most African countries propose a question about its trend in the last 10 years. To address this gap, we reviewed available literature to compare and contrast the trends in imports of goods and services as a percent of GDP across the world region. Additionally, we compared trends in Africa with other regions of the world as well as highlighted the least and most important countries in Africa. That is because of a country's importing and exporting activity can influence its GDP, its exchange rate, and its level of inflation and interest rates. A rising of imports and a growing trade deficit can have a negative effect on a country's exchange rate. A descriptive analytical cross-section study was conducted on the secondary data of database of World Bank national account data and OECD national account data from years between 1960 and 2020 about the percent of GDP worldwide. We collected data of a percent of GDP from 2000 to 2020 among 253 countries. We analyzed the trends of imports and goods and services as a percent of GDP through years 2020 worldwide and described it in the trend in Africa context. Data were analyzed using Excel. Descriptive tables and charts are used to describe the pattern of imports and services across continents. Quantitative variables are shown as mean and standard, and qualitative were shown as median and percentile values. Results were presented in tables and charts. For figure 1, we see here the GDP percent of Africa content compared to other regions, where we saw that European Union and Central Asia and East Asia have more GDP percent in 2020 than 2000. But in Africa, Western and Central, and Africa Eastern, we show that 2000 was more GDP than 2020. That means that there is decrease in the GDP percent. Another picture or another figure about the GDP percent across countries in Middle East and North Africa. We saw that Algeria has more imports in 2020 than 2000. Egypt on controversy. And so we here in Liberia, we have more in 2020 than 2000. While the GDP percent across other countries in Africa, 2000 and 2020, we see that there is a raise in Egypt and Algeria in 2020 about the performance in this Africa, but in Liberia and Mali, there was a decrease. Another linear comparison, we saw that the pattern here is increased between these 2 years, okay, but other countries are having the stationary course. So a comparison among the GDP percent for countries in Africa for 2000 and 2020, Algeria and Egypt are the countries in Africa that are importing the least and that have encouraging trends as their GDP percent increased in the year 2020 compared to 2000. While Liberia and Mali revealed a decrease in GDP in 2020 compared to 2000. So the GDP is the most commonly used as an indicator of economic health of a country as well as a measure of a country's standard of living. In Central Asia and Europe, most of their countries showed an increase in GDP, so the trend of growth in Europe is increasing over the past years. It is very familiar to those developed countries after the European Union. While in East Asia, there is a variance between the countries in this continent. Some showed an increase in GDP, while others showed a decrease. This variance is not completely understood. The trend in Asia was increasing in the last decades. Countries like Hong Kong were having huge industrial and commercial advance. The reason for the decrease in 2020 may be due to COVID pandemic in 2020 that affect commerce worldwide and still have impact to nowadays. In Latin America, the trend of countries in this region was decreasing regarding the percent of GDP in 2020 compared to 2000. But overall, the pattern in Africa was not satisfying between the years 2000 and 2020 compared to other world regions. Numerous factors may be the reason affecting the process of growth. This factor can be civil wars, poverty, lack of education, and governmental effectiveness. For example, Libya has the most important rate that worsens the percent of GDP among the countries in Africa, while the least important are Algeria and Egypt, even with their state of political instability during the last decade that reflects a true growth in both countries. Despite the limitation of this cross-sectional study, while the
2 minutes more.
GDP is continuously changing, this study showed overall trend of African countries. Africa still has challenged to increase its percent of GDP. Effort must be done to relieve obstacles. Despite this, African countries have succeeded. Some have succeeded in increasing their GDP. Thank you. And
all right. Thank you, group number 2. Any feedback, questions from everyone?
So,
any question, please raise your hand if you have question. All right, I have, okay, the hand is down. Any input? Okay, Habimana.
Yes. Thank you very much, group number 2, for a wonderful presentation. My question goes, when on your study design selected, I didn't find any analytical related data in your results. I don't know if you can do analytical, or I mean this part is like inferential statistics. In your results you didn't mention. I don't know. Can you explain more on that? For me, I didn't get, or your study design doesn't reflect on the results, how they have been presented. Thank you.
Okay, first of all, we have a lot of data, so we tried to group as possible so we can compare each other. We have tables, but they were very long, so we didn't like to put it on presentation to get people confused. But the main results that we have, so we have put it that the trending of the question, the trending of what is increasing and what decreasing. Relationship maybe after that, but then after grouping, but the tables were very long, okay? Because we have
all right.
253 countries and was very difficult for us. Yes.
Okay. So group number 2, where are you in the manuscript now?
We finished it, but we have some modification in the discussion and the results.
Mm-hmm. All right. Following what Habimana was alluding to, I also had a question on that, because in your presentation of your results, you mentioned severally that there were decrease, there were increase, there were differences, but you didn't indicate how you measure those differences. Did you make a statistical test to calculate possible differences, for instance, performing a test that will give you something like a p-value to evaluate whether there is difference. Did you do that?
We in the presentation we compared only by percentile values. Okay, but they are.
So you just visually looked at them and then perhaps look at the numbers, but you didn't perform any test to see whether there is a difference between two regions, and then you calculate a p-value on that. You didn't do that?
No.
Okay. No. Okay. So I think that is one thing for all the groups. They have to note before you can make any statement of that there is difference or there is similarities, you should test those. All right. But I think what you have done is quite a good improvement from what group number 1 did. Your introduction was not was a little bit long, but you can see that your discussion, you actually put insight into that, trying to explain what could be responsible for the differences that you have observed in your data. So yeah, time is a challenge for everyone, but I'm happy that you have been able to navigate this and get something out of it. All right, let's go to group number 3.
Thank you. I'm presenting on group 3. My name is Simon Agongo. So group 3, we're given data to work on. So our title is Global Trend Analysis of Research and Development Expenditure as Percentage of GDP. As part of our introduction, in general, research and development means systematic activities in order to increase knowledge and use of this knowledge when you are developing new products, processes, or services. Globally, R&D is increasing and has resulted in good innovation that has brought about technological progress. Effectively and efficiently in research, such as adopting prevailing technology, is vital means of sustaining growth and development. It is therefore important to note that R&D expenditure helps to stimulate innovation and remains key in achieving sustainable economic growth. Different budget allocations has been provided for different countries. For instance, if you look at America, has accounted for 37.6% of world R&D expenditure. Likewise, other countries such as Canada and Asian areas. However, there's limited study to compare the trend of R&D across the globe. This study therefore compare and contrast the trends in R&D expenditure as a percentage of GDP across the world between 2000 and then 2018. With regards to the design, so this was a descriptive process now, a descriptive study. The data was from 2000 and 2018. And we had this data from World Bank data repository. And as a result of this, there was no need for ethical approval. This was a secondary data we had. And we can see the link giving you directions to where we had this data. Our variable of interest was basically the research and development expenditure. And this data was cleaned and analyzed using Microsoft Office Excel version 2019. The data was analyzed into frequencies and percentage and presented in charts. In the first part of our results, this is the chart that shows all the countries that we put together. It's difficult to identify because the countries were many. And from 2018, you only see the line graph showing increasing and decreasing. When we go further to look at the next graph, it's now tried to align the different countries into the continent. For instance, if we look at Latin America and Caribbean, the South Asian, Sub-Saharan African, Europe, and then Central Africa, and so on. So when we now look at the legend, looking at the colors showing on each of the legends against the continent, when you come to the figure itself, we now see that there has been increasing and decreasing across the globe. So as part of the first part of the assignments, compare and contrast the trend in R&D expenditure as a percentage of GDP across the world. So the results show that there has been an increase and decrease between 2000 and 2018. That's over the 18-year period. Compared to other regions, North America has maintained the highest percentage with at least 2.4 as a minimum and 2.7 as maximum. Performance of North America has been second by East Asian and the Pacific, which has marginal difference of about 3% with North America. In addition, Europe and Central Asia come in third place, maintaining a minimum of 1.6 and then a maximum of 1.9. These percentages in this region show fluctuating figures between the minimum and the maximum percentage over the 18-year period. On the other hand, South Asian and R&D expenditure as a percentage of GDP shows a minimum of 0.52 and a steady increase over the stated period to 0.75. Similarly, when you look at the Latin America and then the Caribbean, it shows that a marginal difference from South Asian as it also fluctuates, ranging from 0.62 to 0.78 between the 2000 to 2018. Sub-Saharan African shows its strength only for the year 2007 with a percentage of 0.46, while the Middle East and then the North African shows a trend in RD expenditure as a percentage of GDP for the year 2010 and 2012, representing 0.92 and 0.93 respectively. These results show inconsistency. We observe that the results show inconsistency in the research and development expenditure in the Sub-Saharan Africa, as well as the Middle East and the North Africa. How did African continent fare compared to the other world regions? African continent performance was the worst, owing to the fact that in the period of 18 years from 2000 to 2018, the trend in R&D expenditure as a percentage of GDP suggests that the continent has not invested much. This results show inconsistency in R&D, like we saw in the previous slides. Which countries in Africa are doing best and which countries are doing worse over time? Countries that are doing the best are Zimbabwe, South Africa, Egypt, and Burkina Faso. Those doing the worst include South Sudan, Somalia, Sierra Leone, Niger, Malawi, Libya, Liberia, Guinea, Eswatini, Congo Republic, Cameroon, Central African Republic, and Benin. Now to the discussing part of our work. We found that the research and development expenditure as part of GDP across the region was increasing and decreasing. This is just to recap what was being said in the results section. So to compare the regions, when we indicated the results that North America has maintained percentage with at least 2.4 as a minimum, and by the report of the National Science Report 2020. In their report, R&D performed in the United States totaling to about $547.9 billion US in 2017, reflecting yearly increasing average of 20.2 billion over the 2010-2017 period. Also, according to UNESCO, America accounted for 37.6% of the world R&D expenditure in 2007. That's a slight decrease to
2 minutes more.
40.4 in 2002. This may suggest that North America is likely to contribute to research, and this may accelerate development in their sub-region. Second to North America in terms of research and development performance in East Asia and the Pacific has a magnet difference of about 3% with North America. This study conducted by Rahman and Hollander 2020 found significant and positive association of R&D expenditure with firm performance. Firm value. The result of this current study may imply that research and development ends development. In conclusion, R&D between 2000 and 2018, most development countries invest less than 1% of GDP in R&D. In most development countries, the R&D activities are largely financed and conducted by the business sector, yet the public sector plays a major role in most development countries. These are our references. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Group number 3. Group number 3, thank you. Any feedback? Any feedback? Questions? Okay, I have Ayodeji, then Daniel. Ayodeji, please.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. I would like to appreciate Subgroup 3 for their presentation. Highly commendable is the organization of their results. They were based on the objectives given and clearly stated. However, one of the graphs was not clear. The first and the second was too busy. My last comment is a general comment, and it's applicable to most of the 3 groups. Ideally, when we have a data to work on, extremely it's a secondary data analysis, nothing cross-sectional descriptive. What is done is that after stating that, we will now go ahead to describe what was done. If we have access to the information as how the data was collected. In this case, of course, we're given a link. I checked for my group, I'm in group 2, but I didn't see much. Otherwise, we'll have described further. So as a matter of fact, so trying to say the descriptive cross-sectional, analytic cross-sectional, they're not accepted. It's a secondary data analysis of, then we describe the data, describe everything that was done, describe our variables, and then if you now explore our analysis by using inferential statistics, that's where we now state that, we explore using either chi-square or t-test or this or that. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Ayodeji, for that feedback. Daniel, please.
Yes, I joined the previous speaker to commend the group for the wonderful presentation. But I equally noticed in the discussion section that the result was reproduced and with not much explanation. And even the sentence almost happened in the conclusion, bringing in results again. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that. Group number 3, I hope you're taking note. And finally, Christopher Wako, please.
Thank you so much, group presentation, group 3. My concern was on the discussion part. Since we're looking at research and development, I wanted to hear the commensurate. Is the expenditure in research and development commensurate to the development in these countries that are doing well, vis-a-vis those that are doing unwell? So in the discussion, I wanted to hear something like that. We need to bring about an element of value for money. Is this research kind of cost that we are incurring commensurate to the development? Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you, everyone. I think the point you have made, all of you are apt point. So please, group number 3, take notes. The other thing I want to add to what they have made is the language of presentation. For instance, you say things like Sub-Saharan Africa showed their trend in particular year. That wasn't clear to me what you mean by that. Is it that during that period there was a decline or there was increase in R&D expenditure? So the language you choose is very important. You need to always ask yourself how that is easily understood by those who read your paper. So apart from that, I think I'm impressed by the work the groups have put in during this period. All right. Where are you now? Group number 3 with regards to the manuscript.
Prof, we are on this. We are on the discussion part, please.
Okay. All right. Let's go to group number 4. Group number 4. Group number 4. Who is present for group number 4? If we skip you, then who is present for group number 4? Okay, let's go to group number 5.
Prof, group number 5 is not ready. We hope group number 4 will present before us. We have just like 5 minutes to tidy up, please.
Okay, group number 6. You all need to be ready. And I have said present. Group number 5, you have voiced your concern before. I said present what you have. So let's go to group number 6.
Online, ma'am. Hello, sir.
Yes. Is that group number 6 or Omobola?
Yes, I'm presenting for group 3.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Dr. Bright. My name is Omobola Odioye, and I'll be presenting for Group 6. Our title is Global Trends of Time Required to Get Electricity in Days Between 2009 and 2019. This is our outline. By way of introduction, the importance of electricity to economic development cannot be overemphasized. And the availability distribution varies across the globe, however. And today we have about 1.3 billion people in the world who do not have access to electricity. And according to International Energy Agency, more than 4/5 of these people live in rural areas, and more than 95% live in sub-Saharan Africa or developing areas in Asia. The time required to get electricity is the number of days to obtain a permanent electricity connection. The number of days required is a common indicator used to assess the business environment of a country. And this time required to get electricity in days varies by country. The country with the highest value worldwide is Liberia, with about 482 days, while United Arab Emirates ranks the lowest with just 7 days. The number of the number of days of electricity availability has been a constraint and source of variations to the pattern of national development of many countries of the world. And few studies have articulated reasons for variations in electricity access time between countries and continents, and they include cost, poor funding due to corruption, lack of technological know-how, poor maintenance habits, and so on. Therefore, it is necessary to know the pattern of electricity distributions among countries and continents. And the purpose of the current study is to review the time required to get electricity in days in different countries and continents from 2009 to 2019. The objectives of this study include: one, to compare and contrast the trends in the number of days required to get electricity across the world regions between 2009 and 2019, to determine how African continent fared compared to the other world regions, and then to determine which countries in Africa have shortest time period and which countries have the longest time period. The study design, this was a descriptive ecologic study of the trend of days required to get electricity across the world regions. And we use the secondary data from World Bank, which indicated the world development indicators from 2009 to 2019. Data was cleaned and organized by countries, continents, and regions, and time required to get electricity days from 2009 to 2019 using the Microsoft Excel 2013. And then we analyzed data using descriptive statistics. Our results: 188 countries and 7 world regions were included in the study. The total and median average of the number of days required to get electricity in all world regions ranged from 67 to 132 days. And then, of course, the minimum average of the number of days and even the maximum ranged from about 64 to 169 days. And we have that recorded here. Then moving to results showing the total average of time required to get electricity in days across world regions. It showed that there was a steady increase in the average number of days required to get electricity across the world regions during the period under study. So we had Latin America and Caribbean region having the lowest total average time required to get electricity, and North America having the highest total average. And then we have that presented here. Trend in the time required to get electricity in days across world regions. The results showed that Sub-Saharan Africa had a steady decline in the number of days required to get electricity from 2009 to 2011. And of course, there was a slight increase in 2012 and a steady but still decline again from 2013 to 2019. And the other regions too had steady declines and slight increases, within those number of years. And Then comparing with Sub-Saharan Africa, we saw that there was, from this figure, there was a decline, an increase, and of course a decline again in the time required to get electricity. Only Europe and Central Asia region, had a steady decline throughout from 2009 to 2019, but others, there were decline, increase, and of course a decrease again. Then moving to our third objective, talking about the shortest and longest time periods required to get electricity in Africa, we noticed, or we observed that from the results, Rwanda and Namibia had the shortest time periods to get electricity in Africa, while South Sudan and Liberia had the highest time periods, from the frequencies. Our discussion, our study provides empirical data on the number of days required for citizens of the countries of various regions of the world to get electricity, which is an important energy source which drives economic development. The results of our study are consistent with the findings of CESRIC, which revealed that the time required to get electricity decreased in 30 countries in Asia. And you could see that in our own, from our own findings, there were declines, increases, and again, a decline in some of these regions. CESRIC adds that countries with 30 days or more decrease in time required to get electricity between 2015 and 2019 were Bangladesh, Pakistan, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, those Islamic countries. In spite of the good performance, the time required to get electricity in OIC countries group was still 11 days longer compared to that of the developed countries in 2019. Limitation of the study, there were some countries with missing data for some years. These are our references. Thank you for listening.
All right. That was Usain Bolt's presentation. Thank you, Omobola, for that. So all of you are under pressure within the 10 minutes, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear what are your thoughts, feedback from the group. All right, I have Pantaleon, please, and then Daniel.
Thank you, Professor. The group has done something good, according to my judgment, especially on the way they have, played in the discussion. The discussion is I think, is well structured, connecting itself with the other studies. But one thing that I'd like to know from the team, especially when you look at the limitations. Yes, they've said they had some limitations in terms of data from other countries. What was done now to continue with the analysis based on that limitation? Thank you, Prof. Am I clear?
Yeah. Do you want
Thank
to
you.
respond? Group number 6.
Okay, sir, I didn't really get what he said about the limitation of the study. But there were okay.
You have indicated that there are some countries which had no data.
Yes,
and
yes,
you
there
went,
were.
Yes, you went on with the analysis, but I think you were supposed also to tell us what did you do with the limitation of data?
Okay.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, let her respond. Let the presenter respond.
For those that had missing data, I don't think we included it in the analysis because there weren't even many. We had about maybe 5 or so. So there weren't many, and it wasn't that we didn't have results for all the years, just few years, for about 2-3 years, 2009 to 2011. So we didn't include those ones in the analysis.
And additionally, what we did was when we computed some of them, when we computed the means, so when we compared, we considered only those that were there and eliminated without considering those that were not that were not there. So,
all right, Daniel, please.
It was quite a good presentation, but I just noticed, I don't know what happened there. I didn't see conclusion. And that was something I noticed. There was no conclusion.
Oh, yes, yes. We reported where we got to. We couldn't get to the conclusion.
Oh.
Yes,
okay.
we are going to do that once we are done with the presentation. Thank you.
All right, Deji.
All right, thank you, Omobola, for presenting for the group. The introduction was convincing and very clear.
Deji, you are muted, please.
So, oh, sorry. I said thank you, Omobola, for presenting for the group. Thank you for adding limitation that we have to learn from that. In the results, you talked about total and median. It's a bit confusing because if you're talking, is it the global average and then regional average? And by the time you presented this total and median, presented a range. I think for precision's sake, if you present a median, you give us the range, present mean, give us the standard deviation. So I think that should be revised. And then your presentation of the results did not follow the objective that you stated. And some of the slides were very, they were too wordy. And I think clearly for each of us in the groups, the first objective is talking about comparing regions. Second one, Africa compared to others. Third one, countries in Africa. So I think if we look at it this way, it will be easy to bring out results. Thank you very much. Bye.
All right.
Thank you very much for your observations, sir.
Yeah, so that is important comments
Yes,
for
yeah,
your
well
group.
noted.
Yeah,
Thank you
and
very
other
much, sir.
groups. So please take note of those. But otherwise, I think even though you couldn't finish your work, you have started well, and it's looking good. Where are you now in terms
Thank
of
you very
the
much, sir.
manuscripts itself?
We are on the discussion and conclusion. That's what is remaining. Then, of course, the observations on the results, we'll work on them and then get everything done. Thank you so much.
Now you have the limitations. What of its strength? Don't you see any strength?
Okay. We'll include the strength, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Everyone. Thank you.
Group number 4, are you ready to present now? Group number 5.
Okay, Prof, I want to try and share my screen now.
Do so.
From group number 4, sir, kindly give us some minutes, we will present, sir.
Group number 5, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to share my screen now. I'm not sure. Please, am I sharing the correct slide? Hello, can you see my screen?
I see your slide, but I don't know which one is correct, which one is not correct.
Yes, this is the first
Okay.
slide. The first
This
slide
is the first slide. All right, thank you so much. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Miriam. I'll be presenting on behalf of Group 5, and the title of our presentation is The Proportion of Seats Held by Women in the National Parliament. Although we are not true, but I'll present what we have. As an introduction, women constitute about half of the global population and more than half of Africa's population. However, the current status indicates that women are underrepresented in power positions in the world. Knowledge of women's representation in the national parliament in the world and Africa is scarce. Our objective is to compare the trends in the population of women in national parliaments across the world regions from the year 2020. Compare how the African continent fare in comparison to other regions. Then to identify the African continent with the highest and lowest proportion of women in parliaments. Our methodology, the study design and population. This was a retrospective, descriptive cross-sectional study. The study population was a percentage of women in the parliament from the year 2000 to 2020, and our data source was from the World Bank Data Repository and Humanitarian Data website, where we got the shape file. Data analysis, our data was analyzed using the Microsoft Excel version, and the data was summarized using a bar and trend charts. We compared the proportion of women in parliament between Africa and other regions using the box plots and their confidence intervals, where overlapping confidence interval signifies no statistical difference among the regions and otherwise statistical differences. Was to identify the countries with the highest and lowest proportion of women in parliament among African countries. We divided the average proportion of women in Africa into quartiles. Countries which fell in the highest quartile were considered as having a high proportion of women in parliament. Those in the lowest quartile interval were considered the countries with the lowest proportion. And we plotted our map using the QGIS software. The trend in the proportion of women in parliament per year in the world from year 2000 to 2020, we observed an increase in trends in the proportion of women in the parliament, as we can see throughout in the regions from the year 2000 to 2020. Europe, this is Europe, it had the best performance across the year with the highest number of women across the year. And where we have Oceania continent, the Oceania continent has the lowest trend in the proportion of women in parliament within the year of study. Then looking at the comparison of the proportion of women in parliament between Africa and other regions, we can see the confidence interval overlaps. So there was no significant difference among the proportion of women in parliament across all the regions studied within this year. Okay, the proportion of seats held by women in the national parliaments in Africa from 2000 to 2020. We in our map, we can see our legends here. The proportion with the lowest was those countries with no color, and the light color has followed by the light color, then the deep color, then the deep navy blue color. This is showing the averages. These are the averages of the number of women in parliament in each of these countries. The proportion of women in the national parliament in Africa was not homogeneous across the countries, as we can see the different colors representing the averages. The Southern and Eastern African regions had the highest proportion, represented by this navy blue color. 14 countries out of 51 showed the highest proportion, that is from 20.5 to 52.5. We have 14 countries here. Then 6 countries out of the 54 showed the lowest proportion, which is this range. Those are those countries that are light. My laptop, sorry. Okay. In this discussion, the results show that the proportion of seats held by women over the period of study had increased. This is attributed to the gender quota in parliament assigned by some countries. Africa was the 4th continent with the highest proportion of women representatives in national parliaments. This is due in part of the lack of governmental public commitment to promoting gender parity in political participation, which has also been reported by ROPE in 2013. African countries recorded a significant increase in female legislators during the study period. Rwanda had the highest proportion due to the establishment of gender quotas in its 2003 budget, also reported by Bonnet in 2019. The Rwanda constitution mandates that at least 30% of posts in all decision-making bodies in governmental be held by women. Also, this was also confirmed by Poli in 2003. The lowest representation of women legislators was recorded by Comoros Island. This can be attributed to the lack of gender quota system in their constitution. Africa has seen an increase in the number of women in their national parliaments, with Rwanda having the highest number of women, while the Comoros Island has the lowest proportion of women in their national parliament. As a recommendation, we will recommend a gender-friendly policy where governments should do more to implement the gender quota system to increase the number of women in their respective parliaments. Our references, and thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you, group number 5. And you played us games initially that you are not ready. But
we're not ready, please.
Oh, you're not still ready. Okay. All right, let's see. I have Asimio. Comment, please.
Yes, Prof. Good morning, Prof.
Good
I have
afternoon.
some, yes, good afternoon. I have some questions about this presentation. First, I don't see there are hypotheses in this presentation. Second, I think that this work or this presentation don't respect the criteria you have put. That's I think that it is your study begin at 2000 to 2019. Why you extended to 2020? I don't know why.
So
This
our
just
study
my
is
questions.
2000 to 2020, not
20.
2000 to 2020.
In the Excel file is 2019.
No, it's 2020.
It's not every group. It's not every group that is 2000. So there are differences in some groups. Okay.
Okay, some files. Okay, thank you.
All right. So Asimwa, you mentioned about hypothesis. What is your problem with hypothesis?
Prof, can we answer this question?
Yes, please.
I think our study was exploratory study, so we didn't have this objective of trying to look for a hypothesis. We are just an exploratory study.
Yeah. So
yes, Prof.
Yeah, it's not in every study you are testing hypothesis.
Okay.
It's not in every
Okay,
study
Prof.
you're studying hypothesis. As Nelson was saying, hypothesis is primarily relevant in confirmatory studies, but in descriptive exploratory studies, you go to explore and see what is happening there. Then with that, you can raise hypotheses.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. Let me take some of those who have not spoken before. I have Alex Chanza.
Thank you, Prof. Alex Chanza from Malawi. Thank you, the previous presenter. I just wanted to find out on the recommendations, Prof. On the recommendations, the recommendation was that, is it to do with, is it policy or something? I just wanted to find out if it is coming out from the study, or you can bring out on the recommendation something that you think is relevant. Thank you, Chair.
Can we answer, Prof?
Go ahead.
Okay. This is it's recommendation come from our study, because what we saw, it's the women as they are underrepresented in the world, in all the continents. So we think that the country has to come up with the gender police, friendly police, so that they can increase the women representative. As we saw, more than half of the African population are women, but in the parliament, they're only 70%. Something is wrong there. So we think that friendly police, we have example from Rwanda that has created some court that is mandatory for leadership position. So some example that we can talk about that. Thanks.
All right. Yeah. So because in your discussion you are providing critical assessment of your findings, and then derive potential implications. So evidence, of course, is based on your study, but still because you're looking in the light of the broader literature. So you can provide critical assessments, putting your study into the general broader literature, what could be step forward. All right, so it could be in that direction, directly from your study, or implication that your study provides for the broader literature. Then you can highlight potential recommendations going forward.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you.
All right. For the sake of our time, let's go to group number 4. Group number 4. I hope group number 4 is ready now. Group number 4, are you ready? Okay. Let's take leg stretcher. Group number 4, we are skipping you for good. Let's take leg stretcher for 10 minutes. When we return, we'll go to group number 7 and continue. 10 minutes, we'll come back. So that is 3 minutes to the hour. Okay, group number 7, please. Group number 7. Group number 7 there.
Yes, we are here, but we waited our presenter to present. We are ready already.
All right, so who is presenting for group number 7, please?
Sorry if I tell the name wrong. It is Okon.
Who is Okon? Is the person here? I don't think the person you mentioned is in the room here. Can someone else present for group number 7? Group number 7, what do you want us to do?
Okay, I will share my screen and try to present our presentation. Sorry for this inconvenience. Where? Does my screen is, you can see my screen?
Yeah.
Coming up. It's up.
Please go on. You know, you have 10 minutes. You have 3 minutes of your time is out now.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today I am going to present our project with the title is Comparative Analysis of Life Expectancy at Birth in America and Other Regions of the World between 2000 and 2019. The presentation outline, we follow the MRAD structure. So we will start with the introduction. First, we want to define what is the life of expectancy. Is defined as how long, on average, a newborn can expect to live based on the rate of death. This is the importance of life expectancy is that every country need their population to live as long as possible, because in a healthy life, in a healthy state, of course, because this is their contributions to their economy and social life. So the issue here, we need to update the data regarding the life of expectancy. Different population can help to assist and formulating strategic plan. Regarding the Africa, the data availability are scarce, or the published data about information about the African continent is few. Another issue is lack of complete and reliable mortality data, especially in African countries, necessitates the application of modeling. So any other previous study is based on the modeling, not on real data. So we have a real data, and we want to find what is the life of expectancy. So the aim of our project is to compare and contrast life of expectancy at birth in Africa with other world region between 2000 and 2019, and to compare specifically the trend of life of expectancy across the world in the same time period. We want to ascertain the performance level of African continent compared to the other region of the world, and the last aim is to determine the range in life expectancy at birth in Africa by determining the highest and the lowest countries, the highest or the lowest length of time that the population in the Africa are live. So the method that we are using is a descriptive retrospective study using a secondary data obtained from the World Bank data repository updated on 2021. The data is aggregate data, so we extracted and cleaned it, and we focus on the trend from the years 2000 to 2019 across the Africa and different regions in the world. Sorry. So the analysis was done in Microsoft Excel, and we do the descriptive analysis only by determining the mean of the data to summarize the large subset of the data that we have, and we present the result as a table and a bar chart. So the first aim, which is determine the trend between the 2000 and 2019. As you can see here, across the whole regions, there is an increase in the life of expectancy between 2000 to 2019. And the level of uptrend is different across the regions. So we have in Africa, for example, here, the increase in the life expectancy is around 11 years, while others ranges from 4 to 5. This is the trend of the change in the life expectancy across the two time period. Okay. We have noticed something else, which is that the sub-Saharan African, despite that there is a large magnitude in the uptrend, but it is still the lowest life expectancy compared to the other regions. The third question, which is determine the average across the African countries. So we calculate the average of each country and in the whole time period from 2000 to 2019, and we get this bar graph. We found that some countries have a life expectancy above 60. The majority is in medium level. A few countries have a low life expectancy, such as Lesotho and Central Africa. Those who have a higher life of expectancy, for example, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco. So we, okay, we will transfer to the discussion. We noted that there is uneven distribution of life of expectancy across the regions in the global data set of the world development countries, despite having the lowest life of expectancy at birth. Sub-Saharan African experienced a significant development between 2000 to 2019. Compared to the other regions, Africa experienced a rise in life expectancy at birth. This agrees with the study performed by BZ in 2013. Due to the innovative strategy used by several governments, this uptrend is attributed to the innovative strategies that developed or implemented by several governments in the African countries that addresses the child mortality. Additionally, there was a noticeable improvement in the maternal health care, and the children received the free vaccination, which make children more secure against several types of illnesses. For East Asia and Pacific, also Europe and Central, all have upward trend, also, but the magnitude is 5 years. This increase can be linked to the area of strong economies, availability of high quality healthcare services, comfortable living conditions, and high standard of living. Due to advancement in science, medicine, and the achievements of at least 80% of the Sustainable Development Goals, the regions of Europe and Central Asia today have the longest life expectancy at birth. Their value is 78 years. The African continent, specifically Northern African countries, have a higher life of expectancy at birth. For example, Tunisia, which is, as we found in the graph, around 77. More life expectancy, more value than the Western and Southern Africa. Specifically Lesotho, their value was 54, which disagree with the study done by Aroma in 2019. So for the strength and limitations of this
1 minute
project,
more.
Sorry?
1 minute more.
Okay, we have finished. The strength is that the data collection tool is a valid and reliable data collection type. The limitations concentrated on the missing data for some countries and not comprehensive data, because we cannot find the difference between male and female or any other comparison that we can do. For the conclusion, life expectancy at the birth across geographical area of the world in the global data set indicates that the life expectancy distribution uneven, and there is undoubtedly a significant increase in life expectancy in various regions of the world. Through East Asia and the Pacific, Europe and Central Asia, and the Middle East all had an upward trend of 5 years. Africa has the lowest life expectancy with a significant rise in the past 19 years. Our findings suggest that African countries should adopt policy that will improve life expectancy, which will in turn increase the performance score of their development index, while other world regions should continue their development progress, making sure it is sustainable for the present and future generation. For the future research, we have highlighted 2 issues. The first one, we need to know why some countries we study the countries that have higher expectation, life of expectation, and look for the reason why and the strategy they apply, so we can adopt these strategies and implement it in our countries to help in development of our continent. That's it today. This is
All
the
right.
reference that we use it, and thank you for your attention.
All right. Okay. So please input feedback. Any input feedback for group number 7? Okay, I have Olubukola Adesina.
Yes, I want to appreciate Group 7 for their presentation. But the presentation, I think the slides were crowded. They should have used more bullet points. And then it also helps when you also give titles to your slides so that it can help the audience follow you better. So my comments are just about the slides. So, but appreciations to Group 7. Thank you so much, sir.
Noted. Thank you for your comment.
All right. Any other? Thanks very much. I think that comment is also apt. But any other comment from anyone? All right. I have Daniel and then Ayodeji.
It was a good presentation. I think the conclusion was too long. It was like reproducing the results section without data, something like that.
Yes, I agree with you because of short of time. So we don't have time to fine tune the content of the conclusion.
Yeah. Yeah, Ayodeji, please.
All right, thank you for the good presentation and the hard work that has gone into that. It's obvious that the years in question are not clear. I don't know the kind of what do you call now? So you use something that did not make the numbers, to come out so clear. Then the justification saying that data in Africa is scarce. Of course, World Bank has data. I think what we're working towards is to be able to present trend and then to compare regions. So
Sorry,
justification can be made.
What's the point that you are asking about?
If you look at in all the slides, the figures didn't come out clearly, very obvious. So you knew what you had there, but we hardly could see even the year, 2000, 2019, all the figures, they're not clear. Then the data in Africa being scarce, your justification, you need to please maybe revise that. If World Bank has data, and I think that is still much available, and we're trying to compare the world or the global data with regional data, so you can improve on justification. They're saying that there is not like descriptive retrospective. Please, a comment has been made on this earlier. And then it's obvious that IS is in Tunisia and OS is in Lesotho, very clear. And labeling of graph is important to note direction. And we must commend your being able to say that the data was not aggregated to male and female, which is really very strong. And of course, further data can or other studies can present something about that. By and large, please, I would like to also appreciate you for the presentation, as others have said. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. And finally, Petro.
Hello, yes, Professor. Of course, my concern is the numbers that you were used in the discussion. I don't know whether they were Arabic or what, but I was not comfortable with the numbers. Thank you.
That was ingenuity of group number 7 to take us to another language. I don't know, but perhaps Eman, you were making this for yourself, isn't it?
No. It is a group.
No, I mean the numbers there, because the numbers are in Arabic.
No,
Prof, I think it's
My
good to
Microsoft PowerPoint do that. I
okay.
don't know how to change it to the Arabic numerals.
All right, all right. Okay, thank you, group number 7 for that.
Professor, can I speak to the group 5 because I want to learn how she did the
No,
graphical.
you can contact them later on, Eman. Not
Okay,
here.
okay. Thank
Contact them privately. We don't have time now. Yes. So I have put a link there. I think the comment made earlier about the presentation. I see that that has been a problem for most of the groups that are presented. But I have put a link there. One of our tips and tricks how to craft how did I say it? Very good scientific presentation, standout scientific presentation. So you can look at that to help you to fine tune your presentation. All right, and then let's go to group number 8. Are you ready? Group number 8.
Professor, you said after that we sent for 4.
Nope, I say we have skipped you for good. Group number 4. Don't put words into my mouth. I
Group
didn't
number
say.
8, we are ready.
Go ahead, group number 8.
I'm ready. I would like to share my screen.
Do so.
I'm going to share my screen, group number 8. So group number 8 discussed a study on the annual population growth. We noted that lots of literature stated over the past century, the annual global population growth have increased steadily with countries in Africa taking the lead. The global population growth rate increased steadily due to modernization, which has improved food security, nutrition, public health, advances in medical technology and socioeconomic development, and the safe and effective family planning methods and services, which have enlarged and improved child survival, enabling couples to have a desired number of children without having too many infant mortality. And the African countries such as Niger, Equatorial Guinea, and Angola have the highest growth rate, while Mauritius, Lesotho, and Seychelles are in the lowest region. However, the demographic data about African populations or population is generally of lower quality, mainly due to limited research and due to lack of funding and poor documentation. Hence, this study sought to investigate the population growth rates in Africa per country and in comparison with other non-African countries. The population growth, as you know, is an annual experience in different nations globally. It has been a major concern across many countries. It continues to increase at different rates in different countries. The demographic transition data for African population is generally low compared, probably due to quality, mainly due to limited research and poor documentation. We mentioned that already. The methodology that was used to generate data was employed indicator 2021 to analyze the trends in the annual percentages of population growth across the world regions, specifically how the African continent fared compared to the rest of the world. The regions and the countries in Africa that have the fastest population growth rate and which countries have the slowest growth rate. Statistical analysis was performed using Microsoft Excel 2010 and the Strata version, that version, mean annual population growth percentage in the years between 2000 and 2020 was calculated for each African and non-African country. The student test was used to compare between mean annual population growth percentage of Africans versus non-African countries. So the data in terms of figures, we have got this, the t-test comparison between annual population growth percentage between African and non-African countries. And then we have more of that data, which we analyzed in detail. And then this other graph, which we also analyzed in detail. The findings in line with those authors stating that African countries have faster population growth compared to other regions in the world. And those studies noted that high fertility, cultural and religious influence, poor women empowerment, and less accessibility to effective and safe contraceptive measures were all potential causes and explanations. Variability in population growth between African countries in the last 20 years could be attributed to the transition from the rural and urban lifestyles, socioeconomic development, improved maternal and the child medical services, which increase the child survival in some regions in Africa compared to others. And so we have a number of authors that testify to those findings. According to the percentage population growth rate, Africa 2021 by country, Niger had the highest population increase in growth rate at approximately 3.8, followed by Equatorial Guinea, Angola, and the Democratic Republic of Congo with the 3.29, 3.2, and 3.1 percentage increases, respectively, compared with records of 2020. The lowest African population rate was recorded in Mauritius, Seychelles, and Lesotho. At those rates, .75 and 0.78 highest rates. In Djibouti, highest rate in Djibouti to 11.5%, and the lowest in Mauritius, 1.12%. Conclusion: in all, African countries have had the highest population growth in the past 20 years compared to non-African countries. African countries have variable growth rates with the highest rate in Djibouti and the lowest in Mauritius. Also, the highest population growth rate in Africa can also affect the growth and development of non-African countries. The high growth rate being experienced in Africa is due to improvements in healthcare systems, good economic growth, among other factors, as we have also noted above. Those are our references, and I'm very thankful to the team. We have had a very, very strong team that helped us formulate this document. That's our lead document from which we do this.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Group number 8. Input, feedback. Okay, I have Edgar, please.
Good afternoon, everyone, Professor and everyone, and the group. This group presentation, especially. The study. I have. It was a good presentation, but I have a few problems with it. Number one is the study design was not mentioned. What kind of study design it is, and also in Figure 2. One cannot make sense out of it at all. One cannot make sense out of Figure 2 at all. The good practice will be to remove some of those information and put the highest and the lowest, and then you can make discussion out of it. But you carry everything into one single slide, and the graph, it does not make any sense at all. And also, of course, there are most of the slides are crowded as well. and then the discussion, which I believe it can also happen, that the result and discussion were presented concurrently, and I know that it can happen, and the results are quite scanty as well. Thank you.
All right. I have Daniel.
Thank you, the group presenter, or the person that presented for the group. I have just like in group 5, the title, the scope of the title was not defined. Maybe space and time. And again, there should be a synergy between the title and aim of study. So it's not when you meet duration of study, place of study, then you come to maybe objective and begin to state them. So the scope of the study was not defined. Then again, I'm not quite comfortable. I'm not aware that you use student t-tests when you're for testing percentages, because percentage is not a numerical variable. Again, results were reproduced in the discussion, and just like some other person mentioned, I think the slides were quite crowded. Thank you.
All right. I hope you're taking note. Group number 8. I have Asimua.
Yes, indeed, we are taking notes.
Asimua, please. Okay, yeah, group number 8, I noted those points too. I think you have to look at them again. It's important to be clear, starting from your title. If you have your title, the title should reflect the content, and then build your presentation according to the structure we have had here. Your introduction. An introduction should have a funnel structure, and then your methods. I know that we discussed the issue of terminology, methods, or methodology. You use methodology. I don't know if anybody had issues with that. Perhaps you thought that was the best to describe to use. So you have to know why you're using what terminology. Then your results should interpret the data. But before the result can interpret the data needs to also be clearly presented so that readers can be able to identify what is what. Now, your colleagues had issues with the figures and the tables. So please take care of that. Ask yourself again, is it the best that can come out of that? And their results should be succinct to present what the data is saying. And then you work on the discussion. You shouldn't bring the results to the discussion and the result to the conclusion. The discussion and the conclusion should offer a meaning to the results, and then conclusion of the matter, and provide a perspective in going forward. So take note of that. But like other groups, I think it's clear that you have put efforts. The t-test that is for testing of means. T-test is for testing differences in means. So you can't use that for percentages. You should go for non-parametric tests when you're testing for non-numerical data. All right, thanks very much. Group number 8. Let's go to group number 9.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope my screen is visible.
Yep.
All right. So I'll be presenting. My name is Okoyemi Shokumbi, presenting on behalf of group number 9. Just like we've learned, a picture speak or give thousands of interpretation. So in case anyone is in this presentation or in this meeting and you are not aware what a slum means, this picture is a good example of what a slum means. Our topic is population living in slums, reviewing the year 2000 to 2020. And this picture is coming from UN Habitat. Now, slum is a contiguous settlement lacking 5 basic resources: sanitation, sufficient living areas, durable housing, secure tenure, meaning these people can be evacuated in 5 days or 7 days, and access to clean water. Just like you saw in the picture, these 5 properties are present in that picture. Now, slums are increasing in many parts of the world, but the most significantly affected regions are Africa and Asia. Also drilling down, there are just about 3 regions affected majorly in the world. We have the Eastern and Southern East Asia, which is with 370 million, and Sub-Saharan Africa followed closely with 238 million, and Central and South Asia Africa followed also as the third with 226 million. Now, current data shows that urbanization is the primary driver of slums because people go to urban areas because of difficulties in life and they want to get a better experience or make their life better. So they compromise and live anyway. Other factors also is lack of planning in terms of housing, the growth of the cities. And for example, we have seen that slums impact health, and this leads to some diseases, some gastrointestinal diseases like typhoid and cholera, mosquito-transmitted infection like malaria, dengue fever, and Zika. And we also realize that when people move, other things in their face will have to move also. So it leads to environmental factor. An example is cutting of trees, because when people need to leave, the trees have to move and give way. And also water population in coastal areas where people have to do a lot of things, urinate, drop their plastic waste and what have you on the water body. And this will lead to death of aquatic animals. Therefore, in line with 2030 UN Housing Agenda, it is necessary to identify, quantify the proportion of population that live in slum and make adequate effort to ensure that this proportion changes in decline proportion by making sure that is adequate housing in order for development to come into those regions. And this is driven by policies and programs that ensures access to adequate housing for all, and leading to the transformation of slums to conducive living environments. The objectives as aligned or given on the project is very clear. We'll compare and contrast the trend in the population living in the slums across the world region, and then determine the state of African continents compared to other parts of this region. So we've tried hard to break it down, have a sample where we have the least, the maximum, and then the total. For our methods, the study design is a descriptive research design. The approach is quantitative research. Our data is collected and sourced from the World Development Indicators, leveraging some also data or document from the UN Habitats. The analysis is a descriptive statistics analysis of this data, and we used Microsoft Excel to analyze the data, and these data are then presented in tables, graphs, and charts. For ethical consideration, we have sourced this data publicly, so we duly acknowledge the source, and it is original data, so the people, also the participants, are anonymized, no mention of particular details of individual. Now for the results, the first figure is to show what is the reality across the world. So on the left side, figure 1 shows the urban population living in slum in 2020 per region. In the world, it is said to be 24.2. Sub-Saharan Africa leads with 50.2. And when you go to some regions like Australia and New Zealand, which is maybe the dream of Africa, slums is 0. Nothing of such exists in that region. In figure 2, the trends in population in slums in the urban region also is then charted clearly for everyone to see. And we could see that starting from 2010, there is a sharp drop in the population of individuals residing in slums. Moving down to Africa, this is also showing the trends of Africa, and we'll speak to the data in the next slides. So right from 2000, there's been a decline till date, and it's been a sharp development in the number of people living in slums in Africa. All right, so speaking to the data clearly, African countries with the largest population of urban population living in slum is led by South Sudan, Central African Republic, Sudan. These three countries, have been troubled by war and so many other factors. So you'll understand why and how people are moving. The next is the population with the least. Leading the way, as we can see in the chart, is Tunisia. Tunisia is 8.1%. And it's closely followed by its neighbor, which is Egypt, also on the chart. For our discussion, out of the 24.2% of the global population, 50.2 of those resides in Africa. Regardless of the criteria used, we've realized that it's obvious that Africa is not doing well in this regard, and the welfare of the people compared to the West to achieve the SDG 11 is not getting any better. Yes, the data is showing that we have improved in reducing the number of people in slums, but how much is that reduction in comparison to the global data? Not good enough. Now, the increasing rate of urbanization in Africa is the major factor, which we reiterated earlier. Now, efforts are being made to improve the lives of Africans, although gaps exist when viewed globally. In context, some African countries have recorded decline in slum population from the year 2000 to 2020, according to the World Bank data. However, it is very clear that the 5 culprits leading is South Sudan, Central African Republic, Sudan, Chad, and Sao Tome and Principe. In concluding, massive slums have become major features of cities in many low-income and middle-income countries. And in addition, strong advocacy for behavioral changes to improve environmental quality is needed in slums and should be led by local governments and public health authorities. What we are saying is we cannot leave the lives of men to chances, as we are targeting improving what is presently in place. We must also ensure that the right policies are formed, the local government and the public health authorities then do the needful to ensure that despite the percentage of people in the slum, their lives or quality of life is still better, and they will drive also the behavior to make a better living condition in the slums in Africa. All right, so these are the references.
Okay, thank you. Group number 9.
Thank you.
Feedback. Comments. All right, I have patience.
Good afternoon, Prof.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, Group 8, Group 9, for the presentation. I just want to make just a little comment. The paper was very nice. If we go to our slide where we have Introduction, continue. It's just a little thing I said. I feel maybe we check it. Introduction, continue 4. Towards the end of the introduction, before the objective. Hello? Okay, that first statement. I don't know if that therefore should be there to start the statement. I may be wrong.
Okay, so
Then,
questions is grammatical.
yeah.
Questions is grammatical. But I don't think grammatically is wrong, Patience.
Okay, because I was thinking if we say in line with the 2030 UN housing agenda.
Are you in group 9, Patience?
No, I'm in group 6.
Okay, it's grammatically it's not wrong, and I hope the English people here in the course can attest to that, but it's not I don't think it's grammatically wrong.
Okay. Then secondly, I want to ask if when he was making the presentation, he said Australia and another country don't have slump at all. So did they check why, the reason why they don't have? Is it because the government provide accommodation for the citizen or what? The reason why there's no slump in Australia and other countries. I think he mentioned 2 countries when he was presenting.
Okay. Maybe their slum is our own heaven.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So group number 9, you can check that, the reason, and communicate with patience what is. All right, I have Petro.
Yes, Professor. They had a good presentation, but I failed to follow on figure. I'm not sure whether it's figure 3, figure number 3. I don't think if it was no. The other one, I think it's 4. Can you go further? The one with histogram. The one with histogram, I think listed some countries, Tunisia and whatever. The way it is displayed, I failed to follow. Yes, this one. Maybe if they could have used maybe labels, because it is the way they are presented, I failed to follow. For example, Namibia, how do I see Namibia? Maybe if they could have used labels, or maybe other way of presenting that graph, that figure. But the way they are the way it is presented, someone finds it very difficult to follow. Thank you.
All right. So please take note. Take note. Your figures and your figure choices, your labels, and how you organize them should be able to contribute to a clear story. A clear story. So when you have people now start asking you, what does this actually mean? It means that there is a lack of communication. Perhaps they don't understand it. It may be from their own side. It may be from your own side. All right. And here also, this figure, it's not easy to follow. One is that they all have something related to writing. And so separating them just by those blocks inside this thing is not easy business for the impatient reader who will read your text. All right, Ayodeji, please.
All right, thank you, sir. So group 9, thank you for your presentation. That was quite good. The first thing I would like you to look into is the rationale. Absolutely, it's like in terms of what we're given, you still don't have any gap presented. We have sent introduction, very lengthy, but it didn't end us with a good justification or depicting the gaps that we're trying to look into. Number 2, display of use of graphics, great, but still, just in addition to what others have said, if you look at figure 4 and 5, you only one may be confused to wonder what you're trying to present, because figure 4 is to show us which country in Africa do we have the largest urban population with slum. And it's clear here, South Sudan, and lowest is Madagascar. Now, figure 5 was also meant to speak to the same thing. So you have another country entirely being presented in figure 5. So I wouldn't know if you have any explanation to this. By and large, thank you.
Okay, so I think the indicators for the figures were there. Figure 4 was speaking to the ones with the high population of slum, while figure 5 was speaking to the ones with low population of people living in the slum. I don't know if
okay. So what happens there now is group number 9. You need to do some finishing touches in terms of clarity. I know that the timeline we have here might have contributed to people not taking the best choices, but if you're going to publish this, the onus lies in you now, your group, to fine-tune the choices. Okay, you can take a survey around yourselves or outside yourselves to ask, do you understand what this figure is telling? Okay, you get that feedback, and the feedback already is being provided by the team here. So please take that into account going forward. All right, let's go to group number 10. Thank you very much, group number 9. I think that was also a good one. Group number 10.
I'm here.
Are you Ogochukwu, your group number, you're actually showing group number 5, but go ahead.
It has refused to change.
Oh, it has refused. I don't think it has refused. Let me see, but go ahead and present. I can change that.
Please, can you see my screen?
It's coming, it's coming.
Is it there now?
Nope, it's not here yet. Now it is here.
Okay.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
This is group 10. We are presenting trends in global secure internet usage between 2010 and 2020. So the question is, what is secure internet? Secure internet is a number of distinct and publicly trusted TLS and /SSL
Sorry,
certificates.
Ogochukwu. I think you have gone to the second slide, but we are still seeing the first one.
Can you see my slide?
We're
I'm in
still
the second one now.
No, we are still seeing the first one. Wow. Is it possible to put it on presentation mode?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now we can see. We can see. So you can just go like this. Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. So secure internet is a number of distinct and publicly trusted TLS/SSL certificates. The role and contributions of the internet are changing rapidly. Looking at how the internet has spread globally, there has been tremendous change. In developed countries, the number of secure internet users are published. However, in many African countries, little is known about who uses ICT, what it is used for, how it affects people and businesses, and how it affects internet security. Therefore, there is need to compare and contrast the trends in secure internet across the world regions to also show how the African region has fared, and also evaluates countries in Africa leading in secure internet. This study will investigate secure internet usage between 2010 and 2020. these are methods. Our study design is a retrospective survey design. Informed consent was obtained from different server users, and data on secure internet server was collected from the Manuscript server, secure server, and World Bank estimates. The data was grouped according to the following regions: the world regions: Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, Central America, Europe, North America, Oceania, and South America. Then Africa region was grouped as North, East, West, Central, and South Africa. Inclusion criteria: we only use data between 2010 and 2020, while exclusion criteria: incomplete data and then data before this period. Data collection tool was developed and collected following the variables: the country, the year, and number of secure internet users. Data analysis: the data was entered and cleaned in MX Excel. The data was then further analyzed using IBM SPSS version 20. Description statistics and one-way ANOVA, followed by Duncan multiple range test, was used to compare secure internet users between 2010 and 2020 per world and African regions. Level of significance was set at 5%. Results. Now, the first objective was to look at trends, the world trends between 2020 and 2010 and 2020. If we look at the chart before us, this one here is Europe. This one, the one going up, the one dark green is Europe. Then the next one is North America. So we see that from 2010 going to 2016, there was a shoot, a very high shoot in Europe. Then before there was a slight decline in 2020. Then for North America, in 2020, it increased. It was slightly steady, dropped a little, and then increased in 2020. Then looking at our Africa, the Africa is the one that is purple. So Africa was very low. Then up to 2018, it increased slightly, dropped again in 2019, and then slightly dropped in 2020. So compared to other regions globally, we see that Europe, followed by North America, have the highest, they are the highest insecure internet users globally. While compared to Africa, Africa is low. Then the second objective was to look at African region, how are the different regions in Africa fared. So we see this one in purple is East Africa. Now, the limitation we had because of time, we could not adjust the scale, because if we were able to adjust the scale, other regions would have been reflected, but we had to make do what we have. East Africa increased and then to 2018 and dropped sharply 2020. Then we'll see West Africa also popping up here from 2017, increased a little in 2018 and dropped again. And then the other one that was visible is North Africa, but it was very low. Other regions, because of their very small numbers, according to the scale, we could not look at other regions. Now, the next question is countries in Africa leading and list in secure internet use. So now in Africa, we now looked at the countries. Rearranging this, we presented as a tabular form, rearranging the mean and standard deviation. You found out that Seychelles, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, Seychelles in East Africa had the highest, they were the highest secure internet users. Because the table is a very long table, we had to make it in 2 slides. The why Eritrea also in East Africa had the least, they were the least secure internet users in Africa. So from these three results, we'll come to our discussion. Now, comparing and contrasting, so the first interpretation to the first finding is that comparing and contrasting the trends of secure internet users per world region show that there are more users in Europe and North America than in other regions, especially Africa. And according to Chen et al. 2013, we found out that the reason why Europe and North America have very high internet users because they have high level of social, technological, and commercial developments. In contrast to Africa, Africa is, most countries in Africa either underdeveloped or developing. And Chenetov says, they said with the majority of the population living in poverty, so a majority of population in Africa are living in poverty and lack literacy. So this makes the use of internet access unthinkable, even for those who live in rural or impoverished urban areas without useful electrical or communication systems. So we see these are the reasons why these North America and Europe have high usage, why Africa is poor. Then the next one, in African region, East Africa, they have highest secure internet. So we found out, according to Oxford Internet Institute 2022, they said after 2019, this region, East Africa, had very poor internet usage until after 2009. There was massive investment by a world body, but because of that, we could not get that particular body, but they invested a lot of pounds of investment in East Africa. So because of that, it boosted their usage after 2019. So from 2010, people began to see improvements in their secure internet usage. Then the next finding is that Seychelles in East Africa had the highest number of secure internet users. So we found out that the reason why Seychelles had the highest is because it's also in East Africa, but we can liken it to the small population that they have. They have small population, which invariably means that the investments made in East Africa with their small population, the little they will get will go around because they have a very small population. Then Eritrea in East Africa had least, and they suggested that Kartik 2014 says it's because they have very poor economic growth. So with this, we can conclude that there is still a lot of investment needs on secure internet usage in African region. Thank you. These are references.
Okay. Feedback. We have Nestor Thomas. Nestor, are you there?
No, Prof, I did not raise for the question. I think I just put my hands a bit more area for the next group.
All right, okay. Peter Akuyure, please.
Yes, I think it's a very nice presentation, but I want a clarity. It looks like she added they are to use ANOVA to do some analysis, but I didn't see that. So I even wanted to ask whether they looked at the assumptions underlying the use of ANOVA.
Yes, we used ANOVA because we put the data into mean, but because of the time, we could not look at start putting up tables or show which one is slightly higher than the other, but we did use ANOVA. And when we separated using the post hoc test, was not using Duncan multiple range test to now see how the regions compared to each other. We did that.
All right, Asimuel.
Yes, Prof. Thank you for the presenter. I just want to suggest the group to present the graph at the place they are presenting the mean. For the third question, for the country who secure more internet users. Thank you. But it's not clear there. This graph is not clear. Yeah. If you can present a graph to show clearly the country, that will be very better. Thank you.
All right, Rose Kiali Gonsa.
Thank you very much, Prof. I would like to thank the presenters presented for the nice presentation. However, I think it was in the findings, it has been mentioned that Eritrea in East Africa. I want to correct that Eritrea is not an East African country. So maybe check that, yes. That it has the least secure Eritrea in East Africa had the least secure internet users. It's not an East African country. Thank you.
Okay, what is it, Rose?
Eritrea is not an East African country.
What is it? Which region in Africa?
Yes, Professor.
Do we say in the north?
That is in the northern part.
It's in the north,
In
northeast.
the
Horn
Horn of Africa.
It's,
Horn of
it's,
Africa.
okay, it's in the
Africa,
region.
northeast.
It's in the region of Horn of Africa. Horn
Yeah,
of African region. All right, no problem. Okay, so that is homework for everyone now to go and see after this course. All right, Doris.
Hello, Prof. Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Hello, Prof. Can you hear me?
I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Well done. That was a nice presentation. My only comment is the beginning of the presentation. Just the first sentence started with acronyms, and there was no plus explanation of the acronym. I saw TSL slash, so I was looking to know the meaning of TSL. It's just in the first introduction. So that's, I don't know if you can go to the introduction slide. So most times before you use that, there should have been explanation where it is described. Thank you.
So please take care of that. Make sure that your abbreviations are clear and people know what your abbreviations stand for. Finally, Monica, and then we'll move on.
Yes, Prof. Well done to the presenter. But I think that in the introduction is too short. I don't know if any other person thinks that way.
Okay, introduction is too short. Let it not be too short, let it not be too long. What is this thing? What is the optimum? Of course, this is a presentation. This is not their paper. I think when they're writing their paper, then they will be able to elaborate yeah, on that. But just to highlight before we move on, group number 10, thank you for that. The good work you have done. In line with what others have done too. But your presentation using mean is the most appropriate you have used. You can see that the data, you can see comparing the mean to the standard deviation, the data is quite sparse. So you have to think whether mean is the most appropriate. And somebody was asking, did you test for perhaps normality or so, but your standard deviation is quite high. And if you go to the next table, the next slide, after that, I think I see here you have several decimal places after the number, which I think one of the examples we showed during the course about presenting your data, actually one of those was use of several decimal places is not necessary. You could use one decimal place, you could use two maximum, but having 5 is too much and it makes the table not look so good. So the presentation of data is very important, and that goes across the groups. All right, let's go to group number 11.
Okay, good afternoon. Here is Thomas Nestor for group 11. I'm not so sure if you're able to see my slides.
Yeah, but we're seeing the last one.
Okay. It was a good test, so I wanted to see if that answer will come forward.
All right.
Thank you so much. I'm just trying to remove a few things on my screen and present. Okay, we discussed, or our topic was on the trends in the number of researchers in research and development across the world regions, dating from 2000 to 2018. All right, just a short outline of our presentation. We will start with introduction, objective, methodology. We'll then have a section on the result and a discussion. The smaller section on the conclusion and further area of research and the references. Now, our introduction, we are saying researchers uses research and development as a driver for developmental agenda. So the researchers are experts who engage in the development of novel, good and knowledge and techniques and systems, as well in the administration of projects. However, the estimate of research trends among the 5 United Nations regions, geographical regions, being the Oceania, Europe, Asia, and Asia and Oceania, America and Caribbean, and then Africa, differs dramatically between different subjects. But the data that we have to date suggests that in 2016, the research output, particularly in the African continent, has increased up to 60%. But yet Africa remains at the bottom of the list with only 198 researchers per million people. And this is limiting the global investment, or there is also a reported increase or limited investment of 1.1% in the investment of the R&D. And there's also a low number of research output and the researchers in all areas in the continent. So of 198 researchers, Egypt, Tunisia, and Morocco has the highest number of researchers per million people. Now, while this area remains a significant one and very important to the developmental agenda of Africa, it remains understudied and making it difficult to compare Africa to the rest of the world. Now, the purpose of this study, or the goal rather, was to look at the trends in the number of researchers in the R&D per million people across the globe from year 2000 to 2018. So we then formulated 3 objectives, or we had 3 objectives. One is to compare and contrast the trends in the number of researchers in the R&D per million people across the world from 2000 to 2018. The second objective was to determine how Africa continent perform compared to the other or to the rest of the world. And the last objective is to identify countries in Africa with the highest and as well those that with the lowest number of researchers. Now, in the methodology, we have used the secondary data that we have obtained that came from the UNESCO statistics 2022. We compared and contrasted the number of researchers across the globe.
Seriously.
The data that was collected was analyzed using SPSS version 28 for descriptive and inferential statistics. All right, we used ANOVA to assess the level of significance between the mean, between the different groups. Okay, our result, we used multiple or Duncan multiple range test or ANOVA rather to test the differences between the mean of different groups from different regions. the result shows that region 3, we clustered this region in 2 regions, numbered regions. So region 3, which is representing Europe and Central Asia, had the highest number of researchers. So translating to, if I can read that, is that 11,200 or 112,973 with a mean value of 33,227 and standard deviation. So it continues. So while the least number of researchers came from South Asia, with a region South Asia with 1,308 researchers per million people. So we found, with this analysis, we found that there's a statistical significance to show that there is the differences between the two groups, or the difference between the mean values of these two these regions was rather significant. That there is a difference in the number of researchers among the regions. Although we say figure 2 there, so because of the space, we were unable to really show it on the diagram, but the 2 diagrams that we have on the right side is they shows that Europe and Central Asia had the highest, while Sub-Saharan Africa was the second lowest in terms of the number of researchers. I think we just mix them up. We're supposed to start with Europe, followed by Sub-Sahara, and then shows that South Asia was the least. Now in the African, because we had an objective that talks to say identify the countries with highest, highest number in Africa and the lowest number in Africa. South Africa came out on top with 69,121 researchers per million, followed by Senegal, Mauritius, Madagascar. While we also had regions or countries in Africa that had a 0 kind of research per million, and those countries are like Benin, South Sudan, Somalia, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and the other country that had also lowest is Democratic Republic of Congo and the Congo Republic. All right, on the discussion of results, the analysis shows that there was an increase in the number of researchers in R&D per million people across all the regions. And this is seen to be in line with previous studies, which found that the United States, for example, had the highest number. With 98.5% of the total articles that were published worldwide. Our results, however, were different from a few other studies, although we didn't have much time in this area, in this section. That shows that United States in 2015, for example, or before 2015, United States, I'm not so sure if the statement is making sense, but yeah, we just found that our results were different from the previous studies. That shows, for example, that instead of Europe and Central Asia that comes out to be the highest in this study, the previous study shows that United States was one of the toppest, followed by UK. Our conclusion, the result of this study shows that Europe and Central Asia had the highest number of researchers, while Sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia had the lowest number of researchers per million people. This result called for the deliberate intervention by the African governments to prioritize both financial and human resource investment toward research and development. So the small letters there is our references. We thank you so much.
All right. Feedback. All right, Ayodeji.
Okay,
Already,
thank
please
you,
go.
subgroup. Thank you, sir. Thank you, subgroup 11, for your presentation. Well done. The topic can be more interesting or catchy from what it is. And then my main comments are on your results. In fact, by the time you started that result, and you're talking about Duncan multiple range test, you're already confusing because there are 3 objectives there. I'm sure that some of them can be presented in a descriptive manner and some with inferential statistics. Used ANOVA. You go to result, you are saying you use Duncan multiple range test. Already is confusing. And in the table, there's descriptive analysis. Descriptive is the caption. So I think that already it that not really shown or giving good direction as to what you have done. And I think this Duncan's multiple range test should be in your methods, not in results. Results should just present what you have found. And I think that is my major comment for this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayadeji. That was apt. Please, group number 11, note that. Pascal.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, the presenter, for the effort. It's well appreciated. Mine is more like a follow-up on the last speaker on the results, the current slide that is showing. The fact that you chose the mean and standard deviation would have made you excuse most of the other things you added in that output. We're seeing there the lower bound, the upper bound. You still put minimum and then maximum. So there was so much information, but if you found mean and standard deviation appropriate, I think it would have been better if you excused the rest and just focused on the mean and standard deviation. Then again, just like Prof pointed out to the last subgroup that presented, if we would have, it would have been okay to reduce the number of decimal places. Well, I guess that's in retrospect now, maybe because your results were already prepared, the slides were already prepared before now. So, but I think we should take it more seriously. Other than that, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Pascal, for that. That was also apt. So please take note of those points. Nelson.
Thank you, Professor. Congratulations, Group 11, for wonderful work. Although that we had limited time, it's not easy. My comment is about the image in these slides. I think the image, this chart, bar chart, I think has to be self-explanatory because it's difficult to interpret what is 1, what is 2, what is 4. And another thing that we need to pay attention is to look how do we choose our statistical tests, because all those tests have some assumptions, and I don't know if the mean is a good way, or using parametric tests is the good way to represent these data, because the rate in general is difficult to be normal, having normal distribution. So I think we have to pay attention so that we have credibility for what we do, not just to put the test there. We can check.
All right. Thank you, Nelson. That is also important point. Please take note. Finally, Daniel, please.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to comment, and thank the presenting group. He made mention of something like clustering of the regions. I don't know the basis for the clustering. About 3 regions he said were clustered together. That was not specified in methodology. Again, this was just some standard way of reporting. It's something like the mean and standard deviation. It's not really proper to report mean plus or minus, because what if the value is minus and all that? So the standard way currently to do it is mean in brackets standard deviation, and then at the place where in this page now, where you have p equal to 0, would have been better reported as p less than 0.001. And then on this lower bound and upper bound. I think he meant confidence interval, and which would ideally give us an idea of the level of significance. And just as like the other person said, the assumptions for ANOVA may not have been met because, and from even the standard deviation, one can deduce that this data is skewed. It's not a normal distribution because standard deviation is supposed to be at least half of the mean, less than half of the mean, sorry, for it to be a normal distribution. And we can see that the standard deviation here is almost times 2 the mean. So it couldn't have been a normal distribution, and therefore ANOVA wouldn't have been applicable here. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, all those who have commented. You have made very important comments, and I don't actually have much to add to that, but to stress the fact that you should be clear, you know why you're using certain analysis strategies. And I think this also reinforces the need for the ASFI planned data analysis course. So group number 11 members are candidates. And perhaps if you say you're group number 11, that can give you priority. But just to say that choose your analysis appropriately. And the presentation of the data, we have stressed that, and the speakers have mentioned that. Please be careful. When you say number of researchers, when it's number of researchers, what this connotes is a count data, not a continuous data. So the distribution there will not be normal. It's Poisson distribution. And so if you calculate the mean, it may not be the appropriate representation of your data. Of course, this is not a statistical analysis class, but because this is what you have done, we are reviewers of your paper. And what we can tell the editor is now, send it back to them and let them make a major revision and resubmit. Perhaps. But if I am not a very, very patient reviewer, what will I say? I don't want to see this paper again. All right. But please, that goes to other groups. In this practice, you have to choose appropriately and then make your analysis in the right way. And presentation. So the figure you have here, I see something on the left, sum. It's not clear what that means. So you need to be clear across board. All right, let's go to the final group number.
Thank you, Prof. We'll apply.
Yep. Let's go to group number 12, and then we can round off for today.
Okay. We need the last presenter to stop sharing their screen.
Yes, please stop sharing. Go on, group number 12. We're waiting for you.
Cindy, are you sharing?
The screen is already on.
No, we're not seeing anything here.
Uh-oh.
Can somebody else from group number 12 try?
Let me put it on screen on. Is it visible now?
Nope. We don't see any signal at all.
Okay. Cindy, stop sharing.
Share your screen.
Can another person try?
Yes, let me try. Just that my battery is a bit low, but I'll try. Okay, can you see?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So sorry about that. So I'm presenting on behalf of group 12. we looked at, we did a comparative analysis of trends of hospital beds across the world between the years 15. By way of introduction, the WHO has shown that there is no evidence of an increase in the number of hospitals and the density of hospital beds in sub-Saharan Africa. In particular, the coming of the pandemic gaps in health in the health sector at a global level, in health systems in many nations, emphasizing the strengths and vulnerabilities. The availability of resources across the world is especially limited in impoverished nations, and there's significant differences, including hospital beds. So while the population on average has doubled over the period, there's a significant declining number of hospital beds per population over time. And looking at the optimal number of hospital beds, it's actually a complex and challenging endeavor. So there's a dynamic patterns across the world between the years 2000 and 2015. Realistic beds between the years 2000 and 2015. Our specific objectives include, we also determine how the African continent.
The presenter is gone. Does anyone want to, from group 12, finish up the story?
Let me try to share my screen again.
The line was quite not good. We can see your presentation now, so please continue from where she stopped. And if you can do that in 5 minutes, that would be great.
Okay, the objective of our work, general objective, was to examine the trend of, sorry, let me put this on slideshow so I can see very well. The general objective was to examine the trend in the number of hospital beds per 1,000 persons and across the world from the years 2000 to 2015. The specific objectives were to compare the trends in number of hospital beds per 1,000 persons across the world between the years 2000 and 2015 to determine how the African continent fared against other world regions, the number of beds per 1,000 persons across the world within the time frame, and to determine which countries in Africa had the highest numbers and which countries had the least number of beds per 1,000 persons between the time frame. Sorry, the methodology design of study. The study was a retrospective quantitative study using data, secondary data from the world. Sorry, cannot see my screen. Using data from the World Development Indices on hospital beds per 1,000 persons for the period between 2000 to 2015. The number of hospital beds for each country was obtained from the institutions of health, and data files retrieved from the World Bank database was cleaned to take care of missing data by using the inclusion and exclusion criteria. All countries that had at least an entry or complete set of entries needed for the study were included, and all countries with 0 or no entries were excluded from the research. Data was analyzed descriptively using totals and averages and displayed graphically by trends of regional distributions of countries with a complete data set of hospital beds per 1,000 people. The study used the Microsoft Excel software to run distributions of the trends. And this was performed to determine the global trends as well as African trends of the number of hospital beds per 1,000 persons within the time frame. Our results showed that in the year 2000, the hospital beds per 1,000 people averaged 7.80 for Europe and Central Asia, and 1.68 for Middle East and North Africa. The distribution showed a wider gap among Europe and Central Asian regions, a minimal gap among East Asia, the Pacific, Middle East, and African regions. While the number of hospital beds increased by 0.19 per 1,000 people in Europe and Central Asian regions, there was also a drop of 0.02 beds per 1,000 people for the Middle East and North Africa. There was also a total reduction of 0.10 hospital beds per 1,000 people in the year 2000 compared to 1.43 hospital beds per 1,000 people in the year 2015 for Europe and Central Asia region. This figure shows the number of hospital beds per 1,000 persons based on regional boundaries in the world within the time frame the study was conducted. Further results show that for the figure show that
You have 1 minute. 1 minute
to
finish up.
2015. Okay, and I will just move on. This is another table, another figure here showing our results. And the objective, we had 3 objectives. The third objective of the study was to determine which countries in Africa had the highest and least numbers of beds by 1,000 persons between the years 2000 and 2015. And the countries in Africa whose number of hospital beds per 1,000 people exceeded 1.00 were considered as high, and those with less than 0.05 hospital beds per 1,000 were considered low. And the result of the analysis are shown in this table, table 2 here, table 1. Okay, in conclusion, the number of hospital beds per 1,000 people is unevenly distributed across the world regions and quite acute in the case of the African continent. African governments should commit more resources and budgetary allocations towards the provision of hospital beds in various health facilities in their countries. Stakeholders in healthcare could also liaise with donor agencies and the governments to ensure equitable distribution and implementation of these services and policies. Lastly, non-governmental organizations should support countries in the provision of adequate health facilities, particularly hospital beds to low-income countries, especially on the African continent. The limitation of this study was that data used for the study was limited to only countries with complete year-on-year entries. So further studies should consider capturing other countries, particularly in Africa, where incomplete year-on-year entries were recorded to ensure a comprehensive comparison of the regional distribution of hospital beds around the world.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Feedback. Feedback. All right, Ega, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Group 12 for your presentation. Even though you had a bit of a problem, the transition was good. That means you are both up to speed. Your this thing, I have problem with. I don't understand your conclusion. Your conclusion it sounds more to me like a recommendation than a conclusion from the study, because you are talking about NGOs, government, budgetary expenditure on this thing. So I don't understand your conclusion at all. Your conclusion is more of okay, conclusion and recommendation. Okay, because your slide was not moving, so we didn't see it stop as results. So
All right.
Your conclusion is, yeah, yes.
Okay. Let's look at Patience.
Hello.
Go ahead, Patience.
Thank you, Prof. The presentation was cutting and, but I want to talk about the graph. The graph was not very clear and it's looking too clumsy. I don't know what group 12 can do about it.
All right.
Result 6.
They have to do something about it, especially if they want to go and publish this. So that is an important comment. Group number 12. Similar comment going through to several other groups. So please, those your graphs were frightening. So the reader will be so amazed. It requires a genius to read it. So busy, very, very busy. Okay. So the goal is to make it clear so that readers can find the message in the paper. Otherwise, thank you for the effort. Group number 4, unfortunately, we don't have time now to accommodate you. Unless if you promise to do this in 5 minutes, I can allow you, but if not, there's really no time. Group number 4, can you rush through it in 5 minutes?
Yes, Prof.
Because I need to conclude and send you home, and I go home too. Okay. Who is presenting for group number 4? Go ahead. I'm keeping
Thank
the
you,
time.
Prof.
I think you have 2 gadgets open, so you can mute one so that the echo is removed. Binta. One minute almost going.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
We're not seeing your screen yet. All right, group number 4, I think we have to move on. Otherwise, the time is going. Thank you, everyone. We need to move to conclude. Sorry about that. This is the journey we have taken this week, looking at scientific writing, defining it, what it is, why it is important to you. Looked at the issue of publishing as part of the academic process. And we have the saying that publish or perish. Publish, please. If you're not speaking, just mute yourself. All right. So, and then we have gone through the scientific writing process, and on the right side, you can see what we have gone through. And I hope that you have found this useful in going forward, as well as the group task you have presented today. I hope that helped you to fine-tune your learning process, and then went through the publishing process and had the presentation on that open access and conventional approach, traditional and the open access as well, both in publishing and in the review process. All right, so we started with trying to highlight the fact for ASFI that there can be no meaningful societal development without the input of science. It doesn't happen. And then one of the groups presented the number of the GDP percentage to R&D, the number of researchers, and the fact is that the more they are in any country, the more development you have. So scientists are important. But science cannot happen if it is not, science cannot contribute to development if it's not thriving. And that is what ASFI is here to support African scientists, to raise their competencies, build their capacity, and provide a platform through which we can continuously learn from each other and move forward. So that is why we have the vision of raising the next generation of African scientists with the right competencies to drive Africa's development. All right. So we want to instill excellence in African science through competence acquisition, capacity building, and career development. African science that tackles Africa's developmental challenges. So you know what we do nowadays, from courses to seminars to mentoring to workshops to research. And you are the audience we target, both junior and senior academia. Okay, so if this is your first course, there are other ones you can take in the pipeline. And as you have said, from next year, they are no longer free. You have reproducibility in scientific research. You have research funding and grant writing, systematic reviews, data analysis, implementation science, and science leadership. And we have the seminar series. The next one is coming next Sunday. Here it is. And that is to highlight the things we'll be doing starting from 2023. So please come. We have lots of things to tell you there. Don't miss it. The link is there and it's been shared. I hope you have received it in your email. Please register and join us. And then the tips and tricks on the 30th of December. 2 hours, we'll be digging deep into how to navigate these databases and get what you want appropriately. All right, the SFI membership starting 2000. The platform is actually open now. The platform is open, so you can go there now and register. Actually, those who were saying the other day, where is the link? It is open now, and it is here. I will share the link in a bit. But what are the benefits? As you can see, the benefit, all SFI courses, members will receive 50% discount. And this is not a joke, 50%. And that is to tell you, we appreciate the members. So once you register, you fulfill your annual fee obligations. Be sure that any training SFI organizes from 2023 upward, you have 50% discount given to you. We'll have the discounted membership and we'll have the regular one. All right. And then there are other benefits, the annual conferences, the boot camp, the journals, the percentage discounts will be decided. They are not decided now, but for members, there will be also judicious discounts on these activities. The registration link, I will put it here now so that those who want to do it immediately, you can go and do that. Just give me a minute to get the link. And if anything, just let us know if you have any challenge. Or if you go, this is the link, or if you go to the SFI website, you can see a place where it says become a member. All right, so join us. And the fact is that you can enjoy this benefit if only you register before. So if a course is coming up, if you have not registered before that course starts, you cannot get the benefit on that. So you have to do it before. And the membership is annual, January to December. So the application that is open now is for January to December 2023. Okay. So it's during this period. It's not a rolling registration, so that if you register in June, then it runs to the no. It's within that year. So that is why if you want to begin to enjoy the benefit, it's better to register in time. All right. So preliminary course schedules for next year. We still have the systematic reviews and meta-analysis to be leading in interest. Okay. So for next year, we want to take it first. So many people are asking to have it. And conceptually, it is better to have it before going to the other courses, because this course sets a very good foundation in thinking about the scientific process and what you do in your research process. So please, we're taking this March next year. This will come. This will be our first training. We announce 2023, and then we'll go to the data analysis one during the half of next year, and then we'll return to the funding, and then to the course we have done. The other ones, we will decide when they will come. Now, fees, as you can see, non-Africans is for each of the trainings is $400. Non-SFI members who are Africans is $200, half of that. And then for SFI members, it's $100. Okay, so once I said we have judicious discounts, this is what it will cost you. You cannot dream it. You cannot get it in a dreamland. And at least for the five days we have spent here, you can attest to that. Now, we are also planning that even within this, we will have some spots of giving scholarship within this to SFI members who will be selected. Full scholarship, meaning that they can attend it without paying anything. And then we'll also have partial scholarship. So some will fall in here, some will fall in here, some will pay this. Wherever you fall in, I think you should do it with all smiles, because it's to support the background staff who are doing all these things, putting everything together and arranging them for you. So please do that. The evaluation of the course, the form has been sent. Several of you have done that, but many of you have not done it yet. My colleagues will send it out again so that you can please fill it. And then I sent the survey on journals in Africa as part of the seminar series we want to do next year. So please help us to also complete that form. The certificate, please, the group coordinators send the list of attendance accordingly. I don't want to have it. These are the number of people who attended. I want it, as I said earlier, to specify who attended which day. Okay, who attended which day, because that will make us to know who will get the certificate. So please send the list of your group to me as soon as possible. The Google Drive, please use it before 30th December. And the reason for extending it to 30th December is so that the certificate, we can put the certificates there and you can pick them from there. So if you want to take anything from the Google Drive, do it before 30th December. The nuggets, and not every group has sent their nuggets to me. Please do so. And the other presentations you have made, send them to me so that I can put them in the Google Drive. The course recordings are on the YouTube channel. For the video evaluation, I have sent email to those who have invited. Please honor the date we have put there to get this so that we can move forward with that. We have the links here about SFI, whichever you use, whichever you're interested in, you can work on that. So thank you very much for a very lovely week. And I think this is where we can end it from my side. And if you have anything to say, I will stop sharing. And this is a time for final words. You can show your video, you can, yeah, so that those
Prof, I just like to say
only,
thank you.
please, if you want to speak, just raise your hand so that we can coordinate this, so that those who have been hearing your voice can see you. Yeah, my face, you can see my face, so that if you see me in Mozambique, you know that this is right. All right, I have Indeshi, please. Just make it snappy, Indeshi.
Yes, Prof. My question is really snappy.
Indeshi, we don't see you. Indeshi, we don't see you. You don't want us to see you.
Prof, I'm not camera ready. I'm calling in from the United States, and I woke up like at 3 a.m. to attend class. I look terrible. Thank you, sir.
You look terrible, and we look good, isn't it?
You do, because you're in the GMT time zone. I had to wake up like 2:30 to prepare, so please forgive me. My question is
I
really
didn't know
quick.
that GMT is a good-looking time zone.
It is actually, it's better than EST.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my quick question is on the membership fee, Prof, and I'm asking this for myself, but also for my other African PhD students that I have. So are we going to fall into the $40 bracket? Because we are students, we are not yet graduates, but yeah, just for clarification.
You mean you're a PhD student?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so what is there is the highest degree you have had. So if you're a PhD student, you fall into the discounted, because you don't have a PhD degree. So what we mean
Not
is
yet.
If you have had a PhD degree, so you fall into the PhD category. If you don't have it, then yeah.
All right, thank you for that clarification, sir.
All right, then Pius Odunse. I will take them as I have them showing there, and once the time is there, then we'll call it a day. Pius, please.
Okay. Good evening, Prof. Thank you very much for wonderful session. Please, I have two questions. The first has to do with large contributions. The first is I noticed the change.
No, I didn't get what contribution.
It was like a question or contribution. Well, let me ask first. I noticed that you changed the sequence of this course from Monday to Friday to beginning the middle of the week, so that we'll have a weekend to maybe do assignments. But I noticed that sometimes, even when we plan for these courses, some unforeseen circumstances come and cause distraction. So I was wondering, it's just a suggestion, will it be possible to split each course over 2 weeks and do it on weekends?
Yeah, if you can be the teacher, I will support you.
Okay, just a suggestion. But I forgot that you also have.
If you can be the teacher, I will support you, Pius, honestly.
Okay, I understand. You've answered the question. Okay, then secondly or lastly, for now that we are going to pay, I hope we can pay because in Nigeria here we have problems with paying in dollars.
Yeah, so the Nigerian one is settled because the Nigerian one is settled. The organization is based there, so Nigerians cannot pay in dollars. Buhari will arrest us. so Nigerians have that they have to pay in.
Okay, then finally, sir, for those of us that have done some free courses like systematic review and this course, when it's time to pay, can I still pay again and attend the same course?
If you want to, no problem. If you want to do them 10 times, it's your pocket. No problem. The only thing we stop is that you can't do them more than once free of charge.
Okay.
So that we can give it to other person. Okay, I have Jeremiah. Please, if you can just mute yourself, we have not finished it. Jeremiah, please.
Yeah, greetings. So I don't have question anyway. I'm Dr. Jeremiah from Tanzania, and I was able to attend all 5 days. It have been a very nice session. So congratulations to you and the background team. And we hope more good things are coming, because the way you are keeping it, I think it will keep us also have energy, and also you have energy to propel and advance science in Africa. All the best, and thank you.
Thank you very much. I have Patience. Patience next.
Thank you so much, Prof, for the opportunity. It was a period of learning and rigorous work. I so enjoyed the program. I want to thank you and your colleagues, and also greetings to everyone that was part of this program. And also greetings to your children too. How are they now, sir?
Yeah, they are down.
They are still down?
They are down. They are down.
Yeah.
But we
Wishing
are pushing it. Yeah.
It is well with them. Thank you,
Yes.
Prof.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I have Abimana. Abimana, please. Abimana, you were fast during the course. What is happening?
Hello.
Go ahead.
Yes. So good afternoon. Okay, thank you very much.
Abimana, go ahead. You don't have time. People are waiting to speak.
Okay. Just I would like to thank you for a great inspiration and another opportunities that oral presentation you can have on the uploaded on your system or on your system. This one will help us to keep reading and listening. And I wish to join it, register as a member. Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you. And then I have Chinma Olukole.
Just to say thank you, Prof, for impacting on these 5 days. I've really been impacted, and confidence level to write, not just to write, to even supervise my students has really increased. And I want to give a shout out to my group 9. We work together. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you. And I have David. David. All right, David, your line is not good. David, your line is not good.
Yes, Professor.
Go ahead.
Oh my God. All right. Okay. I would like to thank you, Professor, for bringing us together. You do not know how much you've united us. We are beyond the family, Professor. We are so much connected. You built us so strong beyond academics. I've learned not only to write, but to communicate with friends. I hope this program continues. The unity continues. Thank you, Professor. As a father also, I can feel you leaving children to unite Africans. It's not an easy game. It's a sacrifice. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And of course, as far as you are here, we will continue to be here and continue to do our best. And I'm happy that you did not only gain the professional aspect, but also to have networking opportunities. All right, Usman.
Thank you so much, Prof. Want to register my gratitude for having the opportunity to be part of the training, and then also so enlightened and inspired about
Usman, your line is not good. Usman, your line is not good. All right, Zacchaeus Olainiyi, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I just want to commend your doggedness and your commitment to this program. And I wish other scientists, leaders will follow your suit to develop this continent. That is number one. Number two, I still want to commend your vision, because bringing people of diverse backgrounds together, I witnessed it when we were in our group, right? Because of the different backgrounds, there are a lot of hiccups, and we are able to manage it to come up with the presentation. It's not so easy, but every one of us, we are learning with sense of humility. So I want to comment. I know we have, as I'm seeing you and I'm trusting God, we have many things to do together in the near future. God bless you. As a father, because we need to commend you. Some people may not be able to stabilize themselves after their kids sick, and still be able to forge ahead with your vision is commendable. I pray God will heal your children and strengthen you the more in Jesus' name. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, I have Daniel Onsulu, please.
Good afternoon or good evening, depending on where you are. Prof, I can't thank you enough. This is second time I'm attending your program. In fact, I nearly missed this one, but at the last moment, I was lucky enough to be part of it. In fact, we have medical students exam today. I had to excuse something as important as that in medical school. I had to excuse myself, pleaded with the HOD that I'll be part of this. So with what you have done, you can say, I sent you a personal chat telling you about what you have done. Look at the level of contributions I've been making. I couldn't have been able to do this without you. So you've impacted so much onto me. In fact, that was an assignment I was given, which I needed to teach the residents under me, something on research. In fact, now I'm more than ever prepared to do it for the residents. Thank you, and God bless you. And then as regards your children that are down, our prayer is that they will soon be up in Jesus' name. Thank you very much.
Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, I have Adeltun Adewoye.
Good afternoon, sir. I
Good
just
afternoon.
want to thank you for the opportunity given unto me to join, even when you people have started. I really appreciate you, sir. I pray that God will continue to strengthen you. God will continue to give you more wisdom, more knowledge, more understanding to cascade this thing onto us. I know that my knowledge, my foundation has been improved. I'll be able to cascade this thing to my students. So I was in group 1 also. I don't know them by name, but I know Dr. Marty, Dr. Joshua, and there's a lady that really participated well, Techno, I don't know her name, but she put Techno W2. I really appreciate you all. God bless you all. So we are looking forward for more and more. And also, secondly, sir, I don't know if my name is in group 1 or not, because I told them to add my name. I don't know, because I joined them on Monday. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
In regards to
Sure. Miriam, please don't raise the hands again. Let's finish the ones we have, then we'll go home. Unless you want to stay here, I can leave you here. The Zoom can be open, but I will leave. Okay, and leave here. So don't raise your hand again. Miriam, please go ahead.
All right. Good evening, Prof. Good evening, everyone. It has been a wonderful session. It was actually a marathon, but it was worthwhile. At least, don't let me say we. I was able to learn, and I've achieved a lot. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I hope we'll definitely take it to a higher level. And one very, very important thing I would like to ask is a tip, if you would like to share with us, is the source of your energy. Prof, it has just been a wonderful thing. I don't know, such a charisma should be found in females because we are the ones that can multitask. But it seems, I don't know what you are doing.
I'm making a course on that. It's a 5-day course, so I can't give you the tip now. You have to register for that course. How
I
to
have
sustain?
registered.
You will register, okay?
I have registered.
No problem. Next year you will get it. 5-day course. I hope
Thank
you will
you
not
so much.
complain that it's too much days because some of you are already complaining.
No,
5
no,
days.
no.
What is the source of my energy? 5 days course.
Yes, please.
All right, thank you for that.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Really appreciate it. Thank
We'll
you.
shoot, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, for the opportunity. I don't even know where to start from, but like the other day, you could clearly hear and see my excitement about learning about how to go about with hypotheses and that. It's been something that I get stuck on. And I'm glad you also said you're going to do a data analysis class. I'm looking forward to be there. I'm happy that I've learned a lot. It has taught me the discipline of sitting at home for 7 hours. That was difficult, but then I was able to do it. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. All right, I have Kifuli.
Well done, Prof. Well done. I just wanted to congratulate you. It's not easy to share this knowledge that you have with us. May Allah still protect you for us and both of your colleagues. I just submitted the attendance of my group so that I highlighted those people who are not attended. It will be easier for you to notice them. I'm confused, but because one person attended for one day, but at the other day he didn't attend. So I just highlighted his name so that it will be able for you to notice them. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, I have Uchechi Liz Onyedekachi.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Prof. As in, this training has really been insightful, and it has been impactful. I've been blessed. Actually, I was not supposed to be here in the first place. That's why I had to raise my hands to talk. Prof knows about that.
I recognize.
Yes, but thank God I'm here, and thank God gave me the privilege and opportunity to finish the 5 days. And truly something has changed in me, and I pray that we continue to take it higher. And I pray also that ASFI continue to fly. Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. God bless you.
Bless you too. Okay, Oloruntola Rachel Foluke.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity that you gave me to participate. And I want to tell you the area where I was blessed most is where you said, what is life? That was the that you gave to us this morning. It's such an encouraging topic. And then you gave me room to move on. Thank you, Prof. I'm very grateful. And I'm looking forward to attend more of your lectures. And at the same time, I still want to join my colleague that said, what is the source of your strength? We would like to know and learn from you. In regards to your children and your family.
That means you're a candidate for the course next year. So don't worry.
Yes, I mean, I would like to attend the course. Prof.
All right, Nelson, thank you
you
for that.
Thank you.
Prof, I would like to thank for the opportunity to be part of this family. ICFI has been a wonderful journey since I encountered you in the Good Banking training. So it has been really a source of inspiration. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. All right, Yvonne.
Thank you so much. Yes, I wanted you to get a voice from Southern Africa. get the Southern African thing left out. You might get a bad direction of the Southern Africa.
Yeah. So Yvonne, you're joining
Yes.
from
I
Zambia,
thank
is
you
it?
for Southern Africa.
Malawi, Zambia or Malawi? Yvonne, is this Zambia?
Yes.
Okay, great, great.
Yes, I'm from Zambia. I just want to give voice to Southern Africa.
Yeah. Southern Africa, Nelson has, Nelson, you are
so
from,
much, and
I'm from Mozambique.
Mozambique. So there's Southern Africa already, okay? All right, so thank
I'm
you,
from
everyone.
Namibia, so Southern
Namibia.
Africa.
Ndeshi,
Yes.
Ndeshi from Namibia. All right.
And we have other colleagues from Mozambique in the group as well.
In Malawi.
Malawi.
And David
Okay,
from Zambia.
thank you, everyone. I think everyone has spoken now, and I wish you all the best. See you on Sunday, and then on the 30th. And I wish you a very wonderful Yuletide and Happy New Year into the next year. If for any reason you stubbornly don't want to attend the Sunday program and 30th. So we see on the other side. All right, have a good evening and enjoy your time.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Bye.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you,
Bye,
Prof.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I thought Pro was going to ask for group photo.
Wow.
Please, group
I thought
6,
Pro
let
was
us do
going to
our
ask
assignment so
for
that we'll be
group
able to
photo.
publish you. Group 6, let us arrange to meet. Hello, group 6. Okay, this is our leader. Please arrange so that we meet.